The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Police Officer Alex Arango, 60 years old, Everman Police Department, Texas. End of watch, October 22nd. Police Officer Alex Arango died after contracting COVID-19 during a confirmed exposure when he responded to a domestic disturbance call. Officer Arango had served with the Everman Police Department for 27 years. He's survived by his wife, son, 2 daughters, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and mother. Corporal Adam McMillan, 42 years old, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Ohio. End of watch, October 23rd. Corporal Adam McMillan succumbed to injuries sustained on October 8th of 2020 when his patrol car collided with a transit bus. Corporal McMillan had served with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office for 19 years and was assigned to the Traffic Safety Section. There have been 75 line-of-duty deaths on this day in history dating back to 1883 when Marshal Baxter Stingley of the Salida Police Department, Colorado, was shot and killed while trying to arrest 2 men that were wanted for stealing a cattle. We will now take a moment of silence to honor all of the fallen law enforcement officers, firefighter and first responders, and veterans killed in the line of duty. I hear myself. There you go. A little more. There we go. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Blue Room, where we have the right to remain silent. But
that ain't happening.
That ain't fucking happening. You goddamn right it ain't happening. Today, October 28th, is the 10th anniversary of the line-of-duty death of Police Officer Christopher Allen Wilson of the San Diego Police Department. Officer Wilson was assisting officers from San Diego Probation conduct a compliance check when he was shot by an associate of the subject. Officer Wilson served in the San Diego Police Department for 17 years and is survived by his 2 children. I'm wearing a hat today in memoriam of Officer Charles Roberts, Glen Ridge Police Department. Tomorrow is his birthday. He passed from the COVID-19 infection earlier in the year. And let's get the show on the road. Our first guests were involved in a police shooting back on March 12th of 2016. Welcome to the show, retired Captain Alan Davis, Officer Kevin Smith, and Officer Donnie Jackson. What's up, guys?
Yeah, how are you?
Thanks for coming in. I heard you guys had a bit of a hike to get here.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like 7 hours or something? Walking?
I don't think so. 7 hours.
You don't think so?
2.5.
2.5? All right. Well,
That's more explainable.
More explainable?
Yeah.
It's okay with you? 2.5?
I've been to PA before, but not.
It's a big.
Where are you guys from?
It's a big state.
Chester City.
Christian.
Chester City.
It's a big city. It's a big state.
The furthest I've been to is Lancaster County.
Did you get the pretzels?
Nah.
Have you ever been to Intercourse, Pennsylvania?
What?
Intercourse, Pennsylvania. I know you've never been to real Intercourse,
Nah.
but Intercourse, Pennsylvania is an actual city or town in Pennsylvania.
How awkward.
There are some messed up.
I've got shirts. I've been there.
Yeah.
It was the
Ball
greatest.
in
I
hand.
had explained.
What I like about PA is the Amish horses and the carriages and the big cow farms.
You know the horses aren't Amish, just the people that ride them.
I know, but I'm saying like that big like corn yards, big farms, big land. Like it's the place that what I want. If I get tired of the bullshit in the city, I'll just go to PA. You know.
All right. So if you guys didn't know of a farm for sale, an Amish horse farm, Christian, near a casino. I think Chris might be interested.
Yeah.
So we have retired Captain Davis here, Chester Police Department, right? Is that the name of the department? Chester?
City of Chester.
City of Chester Police Department. Shot line of duty, served in the U.S. Navy. 26 years on the job. I don't know why anyone stays after 20, but that's for another show, I guess.
I was actually going for the longest. I
Yeah.
was going to stay the longest.
Why not?
It's
Why
like
not go for the
different.
longest?
I had like
He's
17
different.
more years to go.
Oh, that's it, just 17?
Yeah.
He's
I
a
would have gave me
different breed.
45.
So you guys are performing a car stop. Apparently there was the story I read was that the guy whose car was stolen actually flagged you down.
Yeah, so
And
I
was like, "Hey, that's my car."
Yeah, I was just doing like my log. I was just sitting in a school, like the bus lane for a school, and some dude pulls up and goes, "Yo, I just saw my stolen Mitsubishi Galant, I think it was. It just drove that way." And I was like, "All right, give me at least a phone number so I can call you if I find your car." And he goes, "Oh, and the taillight's busted." So that's like all I had to go off. It was a silver Galant with the taillight busted, and the plate that's on it isn't even his plate.
Oh, he recognized the car.
He recognized the car.
He
because-
recognized the broken taillight.
Yeah. And then some other officer actually came across it somewhere down the road.
I did.
Well, yeah, you and Tommy Dixon.
It actually turned out of the alley right in front of me.
Yeah,
So you put that over the radio.
yeah.
So there's a captain out on the road doing like picking up jobs. Is that how it goes in Chester?
I was out on the street all the time with my guys.
Yeah.
I did my roll call, my paperwork, and then I went out on the street.
Did you drive yourself, or you had a driver?
No, I drove myself.
Just kind of cruising around and.
I did everything my guys did. I didn't ask them to do anything I wouldn't do.
Ah, very good, very good. So hey, the job comes over. The guy pulls out in front of you. Busted plate, Mitsubishi Galant. Kind of narrows it down right in Chester, Pennsylvania. I'm thinking there's not a whole lot of Mitsubishi Galants with a broken tail light driving around Chester.
No, but it was right alongside the projects, so they were trying to get back in there. But
Projects.
we actually had them boxed between my police car and Officer Dixon's police car, so they couldn't get anywhere.
So they're squared in. You boxed them in.
Yeah,
How do you get them out of the car? I mean, do you get them out of the car?
we got them at gunpoint. Myself and Officer Smith are going around. We start with the back passenger. We get him out, pat him down, handcuff him, put him on the ground. I go around to the passenger side to get him out. As soon as I reach for the door,
So
he
there's
opens
three.
fire.
There's three people in the car.
Yeah, there's three bad guys in the car.
Yeah.
Donnie's my cover officer. They have tinted windows, so I can't see. So I look up at Donnie. He says, "Yo, Cap." He keeps putting his hands down, but I got him. You know. I got
So the
him
guy that
covered.
shot wasn't even the driver. He was the
He was
front
the
passenger.
front passenger.
Out of the car.
Right.
Yeah,
Got him
so,
out secured.
So me, Donnie, and the other guy, Tommy Dixon, we were all to the rear of the car, and between the three of us, we decided that this guy. So he was talking about the tint. It was mirror tint. You literally could not see anything in that car, but all we could see was palms. This dude knew something was up.
If he could have pushed the roof off the car, it would have been. awesome.
He would have been pushing through the windshield.
Oh, the rear passenger.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's like, I don't want none of this shit.
I
right?
want out. I want out. Come take me. Come get me.
I can
I got a warrant. Take me home.
Yeah.
now.
I can see why tinted windows is illegal in New Jersey. I can see why.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I get my car, I want to have tinted windows.
All right. So great.
So Donnie and me, we go up. He grabs the guy, hands him off to me, and I took him. I don't know, 10 feet.
Not even.
Yeah, 10
Right
feet from
behind
the
me.
back of the car. Get him on his face, hook him up, and as I'm hearing that last click of that last handcuff, it's just bam, 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 bam. Yeah.
all from the car, like that initial. Is there a
Yeah.
volley here, or is that just guy in the
had
car
the-
just letting loose?
I had the back driver door open.
Yeah.
Back driver door open where I took the gentleman out and handed him to Kevin. Kevin put him on the ground, put him in cuffs. Now the door's open, and that's that. I'll take a couple steps back. The girl that videoed this, where the video came from, was actually across the street on Parker Street, and we're waving at her to back her up. And captain's walking up to the car. Was normal for us to see our captain on our car stops. He would show up. He was out on the street. He's normal. It's normal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a shock to see him there for us. I know afterwards it was, why was your captain there? Nah, it was normal for
Well, that's
us.
what most of the police. I'm
Right.
retired NYPD, and we say,
Yeah.
well, captains,
Nah.
but in this day and age, like I said, chiefs are doing, tackling perps on the street.
Right, yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's a
nah,
little
not-
more common now, but certainly we never, when I was a cop, captains weren't putting hands on anybody.
Right, nah, not him. He's a different breed. I said it from day one. My corporal from the day I started all the way up the ranks. And
I did more car stops than some of my guys.
oh yeah, his stats were higher than a lot
Yeah.
of patrolmen.
The only good thing is when I called out, everybody came.
Right.
Like I always had backup.
We were broken up into 6 sectors, 6 beats, what we called them. And you didn't leave your beat unless there was 3 east side cars, 3 west side cars. If an east side car called out, the east side cars went. The west side cars would. You could be a block away. You didn't go. That's just how it was.
Unless it was obviously
Unless it's
yeah,
serious.
It was hot, yeah.
Right. So when Cap would call out on a car stop, you'd get 6 police cars there, no matter where he was.
Yeah.
It's just the way it was.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. So I took him out of the car, handed him to Kevin, and I see the Cap approaching the car. I'm letting him know that the front passenger is not showing his hands. He's not showing his hands. I tell him, He's not showing his hands, Cap. The driver's hands were up. Kept dropping them, picking them up, dropping them, picking them up. If you see the video, they're pretty great video of it. You can hear.
Is
me
there just one
screaming.
video of the girl across the street?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only video.
I
We're-
gave it to Josh.
Yeah,
Like you guys
we're
have.
not.
All right.
We're not body cams or nothing. So I'm telling him hands up, hands up. You can hear me screaming it. Cap walks up to the car, which is normal for us.
I
Chester's
just-
different. Chester's different. We didn't. Felony car stop was normal for us every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
And that's how we did them.
Right.
Like we didn't do it.
No.
uh,
We didn't do
looking
it out of
back
book
at it,
reading.
it
Well,
was
especially-
bad.
well,
But
especially by the project.
Yeah, say a lot of projects in Chester.
Yeah, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
projects you had about 15 minutes before things got bad.
right.
That's
Because
it.
everybody started coming out and they'd start throwing. Like it actually turned into a riot during the crime scene portion.
Afterwards.
Where
Yes.
They were trying to collect evidence.
I mean, he was probably
And that
Yeah.
was 2016.
Yeah.
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 It's and obviously we all know how much worse it is now.
Yeah.
But in 2016, to think that was going on, like, that's getting airmail while just doing an investigation after a shooting.
Yeah.
They-
Well, I
they-
mean, like in that town, like if you did a traffic stop and the guy you're doing a traffic stop on gets on the phone, you
Oh,
take his
forget it.
phone,
Yeah.
you grab it
'Cause
you
he's-
know
he's calling his boys?
He's calling his
people
boys.
to come back him
Yeah.
up.
I'll give you your
He's
phone
calling his
back.
backup.
I'm going to give you your phone back, but you ain't having it right now. I'm taking total control of this. Whether it's right or wrong, it's,
Yeah,
it's how we did it.
Whatever,
to keep
whatever it
ourselves
takes to
safe.
get home safe at the end of
Yeah,
the night.
yeah.
Honestly, I could give two shits about.
Yep.
I don't say your civil rights, but yeah, fuck your civil rights.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Fuck your feelings, right? I need to get home tonight. The guy in Philly we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They're up in arms. Even Biden has said, "Oh, he innocent, unarmed, unarmed with a knife." Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really come on.
Right.
And they're burning down their own city over a guy with a knife,
Yeah.
with a career criminal that raised his knife at the cops at 10 feet away. Like it's just you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you open the passenger side door.
Right, so because he said he kept putting his hands up and down, I'm covering. I'm a lefty, so I had my hand on my gun. As soon as I reached for the door handle, he fired two that went through my arm. As he was firing, I started to turn away to try to blade my body. I got hit with a third one in my side. So, and then my guys all started returning fire. I'm bleeding like a stuck pig because it hit an artery. So I'm trying to squeeze it to stop the bleeding. I get down behind the rear wheel because I don't want to be in the crossfire because I got guys on the left of the side and right side of the car. So I'm down there just scrunched up trying to stop the bleeding. As soon as all the shooting stops, I yell out, "Is anybody else hit?" Nobody answers. So then I said, "Anybody got a tourniquet?" My combat veteran Kevin here goes, "I got one in my bag." I said, "I'm going to need it because I'm bleeding like a pig."
You served, Kev?
I did. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh,
God
thank
bless you, man.
Thank you. Yeah. So what he doesn't realize, I don't think he really ever looked down. When he called out for a tourniquet, I mean, he wore a white shirt. The captain, he wore a white shirt. That day, his shirt was as red as his cup. I mean, like he just
Wow.
he wasn't
That's-
stuck there.
That's what I looked out the window seeing.
yeah.
And obviously, you think the
As-
worst, like how do you not?
This guy's been my boss since the day I
Right.
started my career. Period.
And all he's asking for is a tourniquet. I mean,
Right.
like the front of him's covered
His,
in
shirt,
blood.
his white
Yeah.
shirt was
Yeah,
red.
but I-
Tourniquet and a Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
I saw
Captain, I think. For him.
I
a Captain
saw
Cook.
it, but you know what kicked in? From when I was in the service, I kept hearing in my
More
head,
service guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
They taught you that if the supervisor gets hurt or the platoon leader gets hurt, the platoon will fall apart because there's nobody to lead. So in my head, I'm trying to stay in charge. I'm still barking orders. I'm still telling guys to do stuff. I'm bleeding like a pig, but I wasn't going to abandon them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I stayed in the fight with them, trying to keep them going. And then even when we finally got the tourniquet on to get in the car, I looked at Donnie, who was my senior officer, and I said, "You're in charge, buddy. You hold this scene no matter at what cost." Because I knew the project was going to start overrunning. So I said, "You hold this scene at all costs."
Do you guys
I'm
get
aware.
backup from like neighboring departments so
Yeah,
they
that-
get other
At
like
that
state
point,
police and whatnot?
there's two different sectors that surround us. Sector 5, which is Eddystone, Ridley, and North. And then Sector 1, which would have been Upland, Brookhaven, Parkside.
But all the same department.
No,
No,
they're all
they're
little
multiple.
departments.
Sector 1
around
is
the city.
multiple different departments.
Oh, okay.
Once you hear the officer involved shooting, shots fired. I mean, by the time I was taken away from the scene, 45 to 50 cop cars of different departments.
From different states.
Different
too.
Jersey came from across the bridge. Delaware was there. PA
Delaware?
State.
Yeah,
Delaware
Damn.
State. We're,
Really?
we're literally 10 minutes south of Philadelphia Airport, 10 minutes north of Wilmington.
Gotcha.
We're in the middle.
Yeah.
Delaware,
And
Jersey.
the Commodore Barry Bridge
Yeah.
terminates into Chester. So New Jersey's right there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh
They
wow.
came. It was police cars for days, and driver of the car lived 5 doors up from where it happened. So,
Wow.
dad of the driver is now coming down.
Sure.
Well, once Cap got out, driver was still in the car. He was shot several times. The offender that shot my captain was obviously deceased. You could tell.
Yeah.
And
And now you're worried about the.
now I'm worried about
Locals.
the driver who dropped his hands. My left knee was on the back seat of the car the entire time. So I'm backing out of the car. Shots were going off. Mine, another officer that was in front, and then another officer that was on the side. I seen Kevin go over the car to get Cap, and they left. Scene was a little bonkers. I mean, it was crazy. Dad comes running down the street.
Yeah, I knew it was going to get hectic going on.
It's-
That's why I was like,
Oh, I'm sure.
It's-
you're in charge. You hold this scene at all costs.
And I did.
You did.
There's officers that are active in patrol that showed up that are for FOP. We're FOP down there, not PBA. They're a little different. FOP are like, you need to get out of here. I said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I said, I'm staying here. They knew I was involved. I wasn't leaving until someone that outranked me got there.
Got to secure that scene.
Right.
Yeah, I was,
He told
I
me
was
to
the only
secure the scene.
supervisor working that day.
Yeah.
So you got the arm tourniquet. How long are you on the scene after the tourniquet? Like, are you? Apparently, what I'm hearing here is that there's blood everywhere. Like,
Oh, it was
you're-
bad.
if it was up to him, he would have been there a while.
He'd still be there.
I was
Yeah.
sitting over there marking orders, trying to secure the scene. Kevin's like, get in my car now. We're going to the hospital.
Yeah, I've got a pretty hefty looking duty bag, and I just yanked that thing, threw it in the alley. I was like, get in.
So we
You don't get the option.
We get in the squad car and we take off north on Parker Street towards the hospital, which is probably 2-3 minutes away, lights and sirens. We get to like 6th Street and we almost like get T-boned.
My
So-
God.
I yell at Kevin. I'm like, you know what? Slow down, relax, take it easy. I said, this only works one way. I have to get there, otherwise I'm not going to make it. I've lost too much blood. It's still, even with the tourniquet on, it's
Obviously,
still
yeah,
coming
sure.
out. So as soon as I said that, he looks over at me and tell him what you said.
Oh, I hear there's a swear jar here.
It's not a family show. You can curse.
Yeah. So I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, "Shut the fuck up! I'm driving."
Shut the
said,
fuck
"You're-"
up. I'm driving.
I said, "You're the one who shot. I'm driving."
Where's Burke? We need a
Just sit
T-shirt there, Josh. Josh, we need a "Shut the fuck up, I'm driving" T-shirt, please.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Also, what part specifically were you shot?
I had 2 in my arm and 1 in my side.
Yeah. We didn't even know about the one on the side at the time.
Yeah,
He didn't even know. We didn't know until we got to the hospital. Yeah.
right. So then we continue on from that. We get up in the 1400 block of Curlin, which now we're about a block from the ER. And the squad's coming the other way, lights and sirens, because they got a call for an officer
Squad.
down. An
Squad
ambulance.
is an ambulance.
Oh, ambulance. A squad's by us or the police.
We call it a squad or a
Squads.
bus.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
And cars are moving to the side, so they're going to the center. Cars are moving for the side for Kevin because he's got his lights and sirens on. So we're going to the center. So I start yelling at him. I'm like, yield to the bus. He's like, no, they'll yield to us. And I'm like, no, they won't. They're coming. They think they're going to an officer down. Yield to the bus. So we had a little argument with that. He finally
Yeah.
pulled over, let him by. So
There's only so many times you can tell the captain to shut the fuck up in one night, right?
Well, regardless. So he said it's about like a 2-minute drive, lights, sirens. Our president of FOP at the time, he informed me it was 59 seconds from. From time that I said I'm en route to the hospital to the time I called
From the
out.
first shot to the hospital was like a minute and 20.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much from tourniquet to.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't
To there.
you can't gauge that. So you get to the hospital.
So he did get me there in one piece.
Yeah.
We pull right up to the ER doors, which I know the code to because I went there every day for coffee.
Yeah, he's shot in the arm. But he still opens the door for himself.
Well, he knows the code.
Yeah.
He doesn't trust you with the code.
Yeah, right.
It's like the like the Seinfeld episode with the ATM code, right?
Yeah.
No, hold on, Kev. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So since my arm's basically holding on by skin because the bone basically blew out the back like a shotgun blast,
Jesus.
I walk in with it tucked underneath this arm. And Dr. Nesbitt, who I know well, is a trauma doctor. He says, I heard one of your guys get shot. Anything, any update on that? And I look at him, I said, yeah, it's me. I said, I got 2 in the arm. It hit the artery. I'm bleeding like a pig. There's blood everywhere. I said, I'm on this medication, this medication, this medication. So tourniquet's been on about 5 minutes. So you got everything you need to save me. Go ahead and do your thing. Started taking my gun belt off. And just the sheer look of surprise on his face for me giving my own report. To this day, I can still see his face. He just
I
couldn't
think
believe that I was one.
the bright red white shirt you're wearing might have given it away.
You would have thought, yeah.
He didn't know if
It was him. Yeah.
He didn't know if
Yeah.
I had been
Because the
assisting
fact that you
officer.
walked in.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
actually, it's funny you mentioned that. So I'm standing there. He's already been. They've started treating.
He's
him.
self-triaged.
He's self-triaged. Yeah, they've started treating him and everything. And Chester City's a great city to work. When it comes to everybody you work with. So, fire department hears cop gets shot. They show up at the ER in force.
Oh, good for them.
So
they're
I mean, like
good dudes.
The fire department,
Engine
police
and-
department
yeah.
are very close.
Yeah.
engine and truck show up.
Way it should be.
And I'm a volunteer fireman as well. And one of the guys who's a Chester fireman knows my assistant chief at the time. And he goes, yo, Kev's covered in blood in the ER. You might want to get his wife.
No, don't call my wife.
Right. I don't know any of this. Yeah. So my wife is on the way to the hospital.
Jesus.
Yeah. So same as like how this doctor's like, hey, who shot? I see you're covered in blood, but who the hell shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing because I was just covered in his blood.
No, I'm just have his blood a little.
Yeah. It took a medic to finally come over and go, Kev, go to that sink and wash yourself.
He just couldn't,
Or at least call your wife and tell her you're fine.
yeah.
the doctor just couldn't get over that I walked in under my own
Yeah,
power.
having a conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see the Jet game last night? Well, I guess
Right.
it might have been the Steeler game for you guys. Right?
Eagles.
Oh,
Watch
So,
your mouth.
h-
well, it was March though. So, I
so
guess it
how
wasn't-
bad was
was-
the injury of the shots that you got?
I spent 21 days in the hospital with 14 surgeries.
Ooh.
Trying to put my arm back together, which it never worked.
Well, at least it's there.
Yeah.
right?
So, but I was more concerned that they were going to cut my gun belt off, so I wanted to make sure I got that off.
Good
He's
leather.
200 years
before they
old.
Cut it.
Let's do it.
14. Wait, you said 14 surgeries.
14 surgeries on this arm.
So most of the
Why?
damage is below the elbow. So I mean, as far as raising
Everything
it up,
from
and
the elbow's gone. Like I lost the nerves, the artery.
were they able to reconstruct the bones, like with pins and whatnot? And they
I
put it
have
back
pins
together.
and screws, which I sent that picture to Josh.
So the hand
Put up.
doesn't do much.
The
Waste
thumbs, the
of
only-
a
thumb does?
tattoo.
these don't work. They're all dead.
Is there a long-term effect on those fingers though, from not being used? Like, is there a chance
Well,
that
they're slowly curling in. They
Uh-huh.
think,
Do they do- is
down
there-
the road they may have to start taking them off.
is there therapy or something like? I would think maybe straighten them and like
I
keeping
try
the
to stretch them out.
Yeah.
but
just to do something.
it's still like when this started, they were a little straighter than what they are now. But
Mm-hmm.
Are you
We'll
are you
cross that
able to
bridge.
like carry like a cup or like
No,
let's
that
say a bag?
hand's dead. All it's got just a thumb that goes like this.
God.
I've had too many brownies.
Could maybe pick his nose. Yeah, maybe. Exactly.
So
I
basically,
have a question. Can you pick your nose with your thumb?
basically, his
That's a
right,
question Chris
his,
might ask.
his right arm basically is, I would say, numb or like useless.
Dead.
Or, Jesus.
You don't feel anything from the elbow down?
No.
So basically, like,
they actually did a surgery where they put 3 cadaver nerves in, which I used to mess with my wife and say, if I wake up in the middle of the night and start choking you, you never know where them nerves
you
came
see,
from.
you got to love the cop humor, right? I don't care how old you are, where you worked. I don't care what you did and how long your career was. That'll be with you forever.
They never I never got any feeling. So everything from the elbow down.
How many surgeries? 21?
Basically dead. 21 days in the hospital, 14 surgeries.
14 surgeries.
How many blood did you lost in total? Did they tell you?
Oh, they gave me blood for like three days straight. I was pretty low when I walked in there.
God.
That was the other thing that our department, and as he was different, and there's supervisors that I couldn't tell you their kids' names. He knew us.
Right.
He knew
Yeah.
our kids.
Right.
I knew at the time that he was on medicine. He went through something years ago, and we had issues. He was out of work for a while. Us as a department came together, did whatever we could for him. So I knew he was on medicine that could have affected this.
Yeah.
So in my mind, he's dead.
Right.
In
Well,
my
he-
mind, he was
he-
dead.
With so much blood that he lost,
He-
forget it.
It
Well, I
seems
was on blood thinners.
it seems
Yeah,
like
he was
that.
he was on blood thinner, and I knew that.
The reason that he knows your kids is that it seems like he treated you guys like you were his kids,
Oh,
your
no
family.
doubt. No
Like
doubt.
this seems like a very
No doubt.
different police department
Yeah.
and relationship
I
than
always called them my guys.
my
yeah.
guys.
They weren't-
Yeah.
Nah,
They
we were
weren't
never.
the
we
yeah.
were never his
department.
workers. We were never.
And
No,
retire so the shooting was in 15,
16
16. So, and when did you retire?
immediately.
They retired me in
Yeah.
October of that year.
So it's been 4
The
years
city did.
retirement,
Like I
and
didn't even ask. They just put me out.
it seems like you guys haven't skipped a beat in your relationship, or
No.
you know.
Nah, I know. I talk to Cap all the time. I mean, it's Kevin left our department, went to for the better, went to a better department. Our department has some issues right now. I've been out for a little while on an unrelated
I miss
incident,
them every day.
and
I'd go back tomorrow just so that they had
No
somebody
doubt.
to have their backs.
no
I
doubt.
make sure to at least like his his
Yeah.
Facebook post.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
He's
yeah.
got that.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got that going for you.
Yeah.
his son's on the job. You know what I
And
mean?
my
I
son's a
watched.
sergeant there.
I watched.
Oh,
his
in
son-
Chester?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
watched
that's
his son come up.
awesome.
His son came on the job. Well
His
after
son
I
was
did.
actually my FTO. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So how many
and I
how many
was
guys
his
in the
son's-
department? How many officers?
Oh
Right
God,
now?
how many?
About 100.
Yeah.
Is
right
it that
now,
many?
I think they're about 88. They're
Yeah.
probably about 70 short.
70 short
Easy.
at 88.
Easy.
officers?
Second worst city in the country for Part 1 crimes. And
Yeah,
that's
we're always in
only
the top three.
Yeah.
the only reason that we're even in there is
And we only got
because
40,000 people.
right.
Wow.
And that's
that
what it
the,
is.
The
It's-
FBI statistics, their statisticians we're based on 50,000 residents. 40. The cap's saying 40,000. He's being very generous. Their rough estimate is between 27 and 33,000. And our crimes are the statisticians from the FBI are doing them on 50,000. So technically, we're probably worse than what they're saying we are. We just last night we just hit our 33rd homicide out of.
So is
God
what's
damn.
going on in Philly? Is it affecting you guys at all? Like
I can only speak because I've been out for a little bit, about a year, on a little hiatus, I guess you would say. But I still talk to some of the guys. No, for the most part, it's not
It's
affecting them.
funny. So I mean, you know, I don't. I'll speak about it. Chester's demographics are predominantly black, but there's no commercial there, so there's no reason to loot.
Right.
in
Oh, it's
the
all
city.
It's all residential.
There might be 5, 6, 7 functional stores.
Right, and they're all dollar stores.
Yeah.
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 There's nothing in Chester.
What about where you work, Kev? Is there, you having some residuals from
So
this?
where I'm at, we border North Philadelphia. So during the original George Floyd rioting and looting, it was there was a lot. There was a lot. This time around, it's been more focused on West Philly, but we get the roving people who think
Just
they-
feel like I can.
yeah, you know,
I'm
hey,
going Christmas shopping.
and I'll be honest, I would say 90% of the people that we lock up, whether it's the looting or just in, general crime that happens right across the border, they don't even realize they're in Montgomery County. They don't realize they left the city. They ask for their citation and to leave, and we're like, yeah, no.
That's 4 blocks away.
Yo, Uncle Krasner ain't going to help you here.
Oh, let me tell you, we have a good friend of ours, Joe Lightheart, retired Philly PD, and he loves jumping on Krasner.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's Joe's a good dude, and he calls it like he sees it, and he's often in Facebook jail because of his opinions, but
Okay.
they're usually spot on. So, yeah, F you, Krasner.
Yeah.
Hear that, Joe Lightheart? You listening? F you, Krasner. I would actually. I read a short piece on the reason you became a cop. You had a conversation with somebody that you found out years later was the mayor's husband. You care to share that story with us? How that all came about? That was pretty interesting.
I was still in the Navy working out of Brooklyn, doing in the Navy Yard there in Brooklyn. I used to drive back and forth trying to get my affairs in order to get out. So I was working part-time security at a hospital. When they picked up a dead body, the security would have to help them load them into the hearse. And they would usually tip the guy $5 or something. So the funeral home would come and pick up the body, and he tried to give me the $5. And I always, I was like, you're a working guy like I am. Like, I don't want your money. We're supposed to help you anyway. So I'd help him, and through the course of it, he says, why don't you put in for the police test? It's coming up. I said, I wanted to, but...
And that's in Brooklyn?
No, that's in Chester.
Oh, in Chester.
And he says, why don't you put in for the police test? And I said, I wanted to, but everybody keeps telling me you got to know somebody. I don't know anybody. And I said, I'm just getting out of the service. I'm just coming back to the area. I've been away for, 8 years. He says, just put your application in and see what happens. So I did. And probably 2 or 3 more times he came to pick up a body and, tried to tip me. I wouldn't take it. And he'd pull off. And then I got my letter saying I was hired. I come into City Hall to get sworn in. And the mayor, who was a female, Willie Mae Leake, introduces me to her husband. Well, it turns out that guy was that guy. And I said, who owns a funeral home and comes out to pick up a body at 2 o'clock in the morning? Like, why wouldn't you send a worker, not the owner?
And it turns out the mayor's
It turned out the
husband,
mayor's
the owner.
husband was coming to get the bodies.
That funeral home's still there.
Let me tell you, I read that story, and I was like, it brings it back to 50 years ago, right? Like, stories like that don't really happen. Where, hey, just do the right thing. You seem like a good guy. And there may have been a connection. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe there wasn't. Who knows? But the fact that you had established a relationship and you were just a guy that did the right thing, it's just simply like, hey, you keep the $5. It's, we're 2 working schleps together, But that tells story. That tells you a lot of his character. That the owner of any small business is out there at 2 o'clock in the morning doing the job. Like you said, you out doing patrol,
Right.
and you say, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't send my guys out there to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And here's this guy, the owner, doing the same thing, right? 2 o'clock in the morning, picking up a body.
For the most part, Chester's very tight. Chester's 4 square miles, small.
Yeah.
Very small, and it's tight. Like, if you didn't know somebody from every area, something's wrong. You know what I mean?
The booth is telling me we have a phone call. Is that true? Is there a phone call? No?
They lied to you.
Oh, they lied.
Josh tells me there's a phone call, and then he leaves the booth.
Shame.
Just nothing.
What a shame on Josh.
No, that's again, that's old school stuff that you just doesn't you don't hear again. But the
Chester
small
itself
town
is old school. It's
small town.
It's a small town. It's
connections, but not even like you knew. It wasn't a long term relationship.
Nah.
Just like good guy. I know, maybe
Yeah,
I know.
he
Maybe
had
I know
no-
someone that can help out.
He had no idea that he was getting a benefit from it.
Yeah, I never would have guessed he was the mayor's husband. Never.
Well, what are the long term effects here physically? Do we think that as far as obviously you're saying that the fingers may or may not have to come off. The hand, the arm in general, though, the bullet. You said you had one in the hip as well.
Yeah, they
Is
left that one.
That's still in there?
Yeah.
Souvenir.
Souvenir.
It was more important to save the arm. So
Is that going to cause problems later on? Or is it just kind of sitting in some little fatty tissue down there?
that's actually sitting right under the skin. They think eventually it may turn into
Pop
like a
out.
boil and
It might pop out. Oh, that would be funny.
So,
Keep
and
it
now
in
that
the
the
jar.
case is over, I'm going to keep it and have it made into a necklace.
Dude, I could take it out right now. I tell you right.
No balls.
I'm going to need more 3 cords.
Oh, we have plenty. Don't worry. I know a guy.
I think it's going to be the good stuff.
What about the whenever there's a police shooting like this, we all talk about the physical effects. What about the emotional effects here? For you guys, I mean, still active, officers working. Obviously, this is probably something, and I've been in a shooting. I've never actually been hit, thank God. But to relive that, I relive it all the time. I replay my shooting in my head often, and I'm able to. And it's been 21 years, and I'm able to put myself right back in there, and the goosebumps I get in my hearing my own voice, put it over the air. And again, I wasn't hit. My guys weren't hit. How do you guys?
This was
deal
actually
with
the
this?
first time I've heard the story from these guys, because the two guys that actually lived pled out, and there was never a trial, so I didn't get to hear any testimony. So this is actually the first time I'm hearing these guys' side of the story.
I can speak for me that wasn't my first shooting. Unfortunately, it's never something I set out to do. Never. If I would have ever heard anyone say they can't wait to get in a shooting, I'm telling.
It
is.
wasn't.
It's
wasn't
not.
my
It's,
first.
it's
Right, yeah.
not.
I
It,
actually,
it wasn't my first. I live with this. I remember leaving. I called my ex-wife because she had my kids with her. I said, get my son's phone. I called my girlfriend. She was at work. She didn't answer, and I called my dad. And I needed to hear somebody.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I needed to hear somebody. I'm on my way to the station now, going to the detective bureau to meet with the FOP and everything, and all I cared about, like, I knew I was right. I knew I wasn't in trouble. I knew what I did was the right thing to do. I would never second guess that. I've been there before, so I'm aware of it.
to give credit though, the mayor
Oh.
actually backed me.
150%.
Oh yeah.
Like, he never questioned the shooting.
The
He's-
video.
He tried to quell everybody
Yeah.
by let's wait until the facts come out.
Yep.
Huh.
So
Oh yeah, he was
I gotta
very
give the mayor
supportive.
credit for
Showed
that.
up at the hospital hours later. I showed up at the hospital
Yeah, I
after
do give him credit for that.
and then they had the video. That if I could meet that girl today,
Well,
I
you
would
hit it
love
right
to.
on the head to say, cops don't want to go out and shoot.
No.
And
Never.
Besides my shooting where the guy lived, and I would hear guys say, "Hey, man, wish that guy would have died." Don't you
No.
ever? I go, no,
No.
because I don't know how
No.
that would have affected me. Like, I just did. We do your job, and whatever happens, happens. And then there have been situations where I could have actually, I worked in the Bronx. It was a shithole. I mean, it's 1 square
Yeah.
mile of complete dump, where there were opportunities that it could have easily went that way. And thank goodness there was restraint on all sides, and it didn't happen. And I look back and I go, thank God it didn't go that way, because you don't know how you're going to respond. You don't know how it's going to affect
Yeah.
you. You do your job as best you can, but you in the end you don't know.
it affected me. Like I have 2 stepchildren. My oldest stepdaughter is the same age as the kid that I killed. So I'm looking at it. Okay, I'm looking at it as a dad.
Sure.
You know what I mean? As a man, as a dad, as a cop.
And that dad who's coming down to that crime scene,
Right.
even more so.
Whose son is shot as the driver. The father of the offender who shot my captain showed up at the scene.
Oh my Lord.
The mother showed up at the scene. The father works for Chester Water Authority, which is a huge water department down there. The mother is a school bus driver.
Blue collar, working family.
Great people.
Yeah.
Great people.
Yeah.
Their other son was killed a couple months prior to this. The guy who I shot and killed, but it's all gang related stuff. The guy that I shot and killed,
Be careful when you say gang.
right?
The most
yeah.
recent
there's
news
no gangs in
article. Yeah, there's
Chester.
no gangs
Right.
in Chester.
There's plenty of gangs in Chester.
Yeah.
And Antifa's
Our
just
current-
an idea, right?
Our,
Antifa's an idea.
Our current commissioner
They don't
doesn't want to accept it, but there's plenty of gangs in Chester. There's studies. There's federal agents down there every single day studying the
Yeah.
gangs in Chester. Period.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I pull
Right.
up to an old Taurus,
Right.
and it's some dude who just hangs a badge out the window.
Right.
Yeah, okay, there's no
Right.
gangs in this town.
Right. And
I
it's
actually started my career on the same type of call. I was 2 hours on the street my very first time. We stopped a stolen car with 3 guys in it, turned into a shootout.
On your first day.
My first 2 hours. I was 2 hours.
So your
on
first
the
day on the
job.
job was a shootout, and your last day on the job was a shootout.
yeah.
Damn.
Except the last day they got me.
Whoa, what coincidence,
Listen, you wake
right?
up every morning, right?
Yeah.
How is this the first time I'm hearing about this?
Yeah.
What coincidence, right, Tom?
I
That's
had no idea about
crazy.
this.
That's crazy,
I mean, it's
man.
not uncommon. I mean,
That
you're
was
not
my
the
very
first
first
guy
call.
in
I had-
Chester. Well, you might have been the first guy, but you're definitely not the only guy in
So,
Chester.
so guys,
For first day and last day, I bet that's pretty significant.
might be
Last day,
the-
yeah.
That actually
you
might
the
be.
one and only.
yeah.
I need an autograph.
But there is that one other guy who's got the first day being involved in the shooting.
so guys,
Hold on, Christian wants to ask an inappropriate question. Hold on.
oh God, please. What, like, the mayor backed you up in
Yes,
this
he did.
situation, right? What are your thoughts. I assume already what are you thinking about? No, the mayor of Seattle, the mayor of New York City, how they're acting, how they're treating their officers. Like, what do you have to say?
they're a
I want to hear your
disgrace.
input.
They're a disgrace.
All right, appropriate
We gotta-
question. I take that back. Very appropriate question.
You guys,
Yeah, Tom,
sorry.
I proved you
guys
wrong,
warned
Tom.
us.
Really?
I apologize. Very appropriate question. Very well done.
So not only are they
I
a
guess the
disgrace,
weed
but,
brownies aren't working.
at the time, the mayor of Chester was actually for the police. So actually, it's funny. The mayor of the time was I can't think of his name. I drawn a brain fart.
Thaddeus.
Thaddeus Kirkland.
No, it wasn't Thaddeus yet,
Yeah,
was it?
yeah.
Oh, it was
Yes.
Thaddeus. Oh, well then never
Yep.
mind.
What about the current mayor?
My story stands
Yep.
He's
null
still
and
the
void
mayor.
then.
Thaddeus
I'm going
is
to pull
still the
that one
mayor.
back.
What about
Yeah,
the what about
yeah,
the
yeah.
current mayor?
No,
He's the
that, it
same
would
mayor.
be
He's
Thaddeus.
still the
Yeah,
mayor.
I didn't realize he was mayor
Same mayor.
already at the time. Yeah.
Times they have changed.
But they were trying to spin that. The families, Action News, which is the local Philly news, actually interviewed a family that said, "Oh yeah, we saw the whole thing. That officer shot him first for no reason." Like they were trying to ramp it up.
Of course.
Before they seen the
And then
video.
the
Before
video.
that video came
Then
out.
the video.
That's what prompted that girl to send that video.
Yeah, the Action News went to her. They
She
got
went-
her.
She went and bought like a burner phone and said, "You guys need to see this, but I don't want to." Like when I asked who it was, because I
They
wanted
won't
to go
tell
thank
us.
her, they won't tell us.
They won't
Well,
tell
you know,
us.
we covered extensively here on the show in that years ago, and the way an investigation should take place is that you have an investigation and you don't release any of that stuff until the investigation is completed. And now it's
But I'm
minutes
saying-
later. You have to, and you were guy, and
Yeah.
thank God, because
I'm saying-
typically the videos hurt us.
But
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Right?
in
Yeah.
the mayor's defense, he didn't see that video yet. When
But
he was
he
defending
automatically
it.
defended
Yeah, he
you and
He
said,
defended us.
"Let's get to the bottom of
defended it
this."
And said, "Let's wait for the evidence. Let's relax."
Yeah, he handled it extremely well.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did well.
Well, you're very
At
lucky.
the hospital.
You're very
I mean,
lucky.
He went to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, hours later, the mayor was there, being escorted out. The mayor, in a good way. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was, he was leaving with his.
Do we have a caller? Why does it keep showing me the caller?
He's lying to you.
Caller.
Did
I don't know, he-
did
Josh keeps
put
saying
the
there's a
video
caller.
up?
Yo, Tom, he's hallucinating. He's seeing things.
Yeah,
that
he
are
must,
not
he
there.
must have had the brownies you had.
Did Josh
Nah.
put the video up?
Yeah, I'm sure they ran the videos.
I'm saying so he could play it.
Do you play the video of the actual shooting? You don't have the video.
Oh.
Ah.
I sent it to Josh.
Josh, jeez,
I have it.
Louise.
Come on, Josh, you're slacking right there, bro.
Technically, we all have it. It's on 6ABC.
We can find it.
Yeah.
Josh sucks.
Josh
Wow.
does suck.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? He can produce your show.
What
We're
a
looking for a
disgrace.
producer.
Yeah, he is looking for a producer. No, the pay is low. The pay is bourbon.
That,
No, but
that
you-
stuff's okay.
He made a great point though. Is that in the current environment, obviously anyone that's in law enforcement recognizes the fact that our mayors and our commissioners,
Yes.
they jump at the opportunity. I don't say they jump at the opportunity to throw you under the bus, but they're so quick to, like in Philly, the governor. He jumped all over that.
Yes.
How do you not? You got to give it a little time, even if it's a couple of days, to figure this out
Right, you don't go
and
on.
figure. You can't. And that started.
Maybe at
that
least look
started
at the
in Ferguson.
video before you
Right.
make
That
the
started in
comment.
Ferguson. It started in Ferguson with the freaking president.
That's true.
Jumping on there on day
That's
one.
true.
And it hasn't stopped since.
Yep.
Obama gave fire to this whole storm we have right now.
Even now, they watch the video.
You're not wrong,
And they're
yeah.
still not backing them.
Well, honestly, what's happening now is that they're going back to older videos and saying, "Hey, let's relook at this." Even though it was a clear, you were cleared in the shooting, families are coming in and saying, "Hey, let's have another look." Like, really?
Even though the video shows,
It is what it is.
the video shows clearly that the officer had the reason to act the way they acted. You know, why go back to it again?
My video clearly shows that I was fired on first.
You could
Yeah.
see the
I
you
don't
could
even-
see his gun is still in his holster. You could see the
I got my
glass
hand on
shatter,
it, but it's
and you
still in the
could
holster.
see the unfortunate pink mist coming out of his arm.
Gee,
Yeah.
Thank God that they did not amputate your arm. Because in
Yeah.
that situation, they would have amputated your arm. I'm not a medical expert, but I'm just saying. you
really?
know.
You're
I thought you were,
close.
I thought you were a doctor.
You're
You're a doc-
close.
I wish I
It was
was.
pretty close
Dr.
to that.
Dre.
I'm hoping that sometime tonight we can amputate your head.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
How about we take your eyes out?
So in response to your comment about the mayors and such, they're
So hands
solidifying
off.
this.
Yeah.
They're saying this is okay. So where I work, we border North Philadelphia. We have a spoken policy. It's not written anywhere, but we have a spoken policy as of the George Floyd incident. If someone we're after crosses that double yellow line on that avenue, have a good day. I mean, short of, a good felony stop. If it's a good felony stop, we'll go get them. But, I mean, like, we're not trying to...
Proactive policing is out. It's
Yes,
simple as that.
100%.
Proactive policing is,
Chalk it up.
unfortunately,
Well,
proactive
especially-
policing is
Yes.
out.
Especially they won't cross into Krasner territory.
Right.
Well, and that's a big deal.
'Cause
Yeah.
they want to
That's
get
a big deal.
charged.
Because
and you will.
I might be chasing a guy for, retail theft because on our border with North Philadelphia is 3 shopping centers. And the majority of our crime is retail theft. So I might chase a guy across the border for retail theft. And as soon as I get across the border, he pulls a knife on me. And we have the same situation that we have currently in Philadelphia and West Philadelphia, where he's now determined to get away, but he's also determined to kill me in the process.
Yeah.
So now I end up having to take action, and unfortunately, it's in Krasner's territory.
The only lives that don't matter are ours.
Yeah.
I'm not even being like over dramatizing this. It really
That's what we
it
signed
really
up for.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we signed
yeah,
up
we
for.
signed-
is what you
yeah.
did.
I agree.
Who's saying
I
this?
agree.
Josh has a microphone now. We didn't sign up for that. The hell out of here. Who said that? We
Maybe.
didn't sign up for this.
That's
Oh,
what
is that
they-
you?
That's what they say.
So,
That's what they say.
so basically, guys, do you think in the next 4 years or 5 years from now, do you think law enforcement will be in much more, I would say, in perilous times than we are right now?
It's going to get worse before it gets
you're
better.
going to
Yeah,
you're going to
it's
have
definitely gonna
guys
get
second
worse.
guessing. You're going to have
Yep.
more cops
Yeah.
dying because they're afraid to take action. You're going to have cops that are going to turn a blind eye to certain things. You're going to
Yeah.
have cops that don't show up to certain things.
But even worse than that is you're going to have cops that would have been good cops not take this
Yes,
job.
100%.
I work with some really amazing guys that were lawyers, guys that were served in the military. Go, no, I'll
wanna
take
be a
that.
cop."
I'll take that 9 to 5 in some office making 75, 80 grand a year and be happy with that because I will not do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
My
Because there's
God.
no protection,
In
and we
the-
all know that.
In the 3 years that I've been where I'm currently at, I've got a handful of guys who are junior to me, who are also never been cops before, and they have no idea what it is to be a proactive cop. And the problem is like I learned to be a proactive cop in the city of Chester. So a proactive cop in the city of Chester is very different from proactive cop from where I'm currently at. I mean, like I would just jump out on people, arrest people, throw them in my car, and drive them.
over 500 gun arrests last
Right.
year.
I would drive them to the station
In
by
Chester.
myself. I'm at a place
lot.
right
That's
now where,
average.
like, if I do a car stop and I want to get somebody out of the car, I'm kind of encouraged to,
Not really.
wait for my backup before I get them out of the
Yeah.
car.
My
you
God.
know,
But the flip side of that is that we all know that we cannot. There's no 90% of law enforcement cannot survive on base salary.
No.
And the way you make
Right,
your overtime
yes.
is making arrests, and not flaking guys.
Oh, yeah.
you're not
No,
it
flaking
is-
people.
it
You
is
just
what it is.
You have to be proactive to make decent collars to
Yeah.
make some
Yeah.
money. That's
but
just
see,
the way it is.
We didn't even do it for the money. We did it more to give the neighborhoods. a
Well, you were
chance
doing
to
it.
be
Sa-
neighborhoods.
say you were doing it,
Same
but-
thing what Josh says. People,
Yeah.
the
Like, we
cops
wanted them
before
bad
him.
guys off the street so that the little old lady could come out and sit on her
Yeah.
porch.
yeah.
Yeah,
The same thing what Josh says. The generation of cops before him, they did it for the fraternity. They have passion for it.
Yeah.
Now they're doing it for the
You
money,
did
the
do it.
benefits.
You
all
did
that
do it for that.
I would have
And-
done this job for free when I started.
Honestly, I
Yes.
say the same thing. I
Yeah.
loved that work. I really did, and I never regretted a day I ever went in. But right now, I could never be a cop where I worked today the way
No.
we were police
No
20
way.
years ago.
Me neither.
It just you have to, you transition, you figure stuff out, and this is all on the politicians,
Yes.
the commissioners. You have to pandering to. They put the needs of the mutts before the needs of the good citizens, and we know. I don't care in Chester or the Bronx, most of your citizens are good people.
Most,
100%.
Most of your
yeah, I would
citizens
say
are good.
95%
Yes.
of the citizens are great.
Yeah.
And the
people.
5% or 10% of assholes out there that ruin it,
Are
and
the decay of
they're
society.
ruining so that
Yep.
grandma can't go up
Yep.
to the corner store and get a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk.
Couple years back, we went on a lockdown, and we were told and ordered to stop anybody moving. Period. And we were stopping. The sheriffs came down. The state police came down. They were hiring everybody. I'm not sure if you were still there when we did this.
I think it was right as I was getting
and,
hired.
and
yeah.
it's like we were. We took our city back.
Yeah.
And we had people calling, and instead of complaining against us, they were thanking us. Oh my God, I haven't been able to sit on my porch for 5 years, 10 years. I haven't been able to walk my dog more than 2 houses up in years. Thank you. Thank you. Can we keep this up?
We were having like 2 or 3 shootings a day, and finally,
Or
it was just
on
like,
average.
Like done.
Nobody,
yeah.
nobody moves unless we know who they
Yep.
are and where they're
Yep.
going.
9 o'clock at night, if you were out, you were getting stopped.
Different
if you were
times.
cool, you were
Yep.
good.
Different times.
But you were a bad guy. We were locked. Our cell blocks were full. And we have a holding cell. We could house 50 prisoners easy in our police station.
Oh yeah.
And it's easy 50, maybe 75, maybe 80. He would know better. And it's like they would be filled, and we were getting guns, bad guys off the street, and nobody innocent, nobody good. We were taken back, and the city feared us. The bad guys feared us.
Right. Yeah.
But
Not
like
the good people.
But like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds who were walking down the street at
Yeah.
night, they didn't mind getting pit
Right.
stopped because
'Cause
they
they
knew
felt safe.
the job was getting done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for coming in, Captain Davis, Officer Smith, Officer Jackson. The one last thing I will say is that do you guys realize that he looks just like Mark Anthony?
He is Mark.
He's like Mark
No, he's
Anthony's.
not.
He's
That
like
really
Mark
is.
Anthony's little brother, right?
He is
This-
Mark
I disagree with that. No.
So obviously, I'm
He
not
had
the
too many brownies.
I'm not the only one, right?
He looks like more like Jeff Gordon,
Hang on.
Jeff Gordon.
the
There
the
you go.
NASCAR driver.
Look at his hair.
Luscious
Oh
locks.
my God.
J Lo says you're a dick.
No, not Mark Anthony. I disagree. No.
I did tell them on the way up here, if they get discovered and become famous, I get 10%.
You get 10%.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a break, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
service, both of you, all three of you, for what you guys do. The sacrifice of your right arm.
Exactly.
For the not just for people in Chester, but when law enforcement, we represent everybody. We don't just represent and protect the people that in the cities that we work in. It's across the globe.
Yeah.
I don't care where you are. You're a cop. You're a cop.
Yeah.
You're not just a
Exactly,
cop in
yep.
Pennsylvania. You go to Australia. You're a cop there too. If something happens, we're going to take action. So God bless you for your service. And
I miss it every day.
yeah, I'm sure. So do I.
Yeah.
So do I.
No, I don't.
I do. I miss,
All right.
maybe not the
Not
circus.
right
I
now.
definitely miss the
Not right
clowns.
Yes,
but,
yes.
but thank you guys, Three Clowns, for coming in and bringing it
I
back
think,
to us.
I think that the Thin Blue Line is worldwide. You know.
It's
Yeah,
worldwide.
100%.
Yeah, Christian says it's worldwide.
You guys put us on warning on him, and he's been
Yeah,
nothing but great all day.
Yeah, see, Wait, that's because he's drinking water now.
Yeah.
All right, take us on the break. We'll be back in what, about 4
Thank you
minutes,
very
5
much.
minutes?
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll be back in a few.
Thank you.
If you are searching for a doctor that truly cares about your overall health and well-being, contact Dr. Alex at Tri-State Health and Wellness. For more than 11 years, Dr. Alex has been treating law enforcement professionals and their families while focusing on one-on-one care so you never feel rushed. All necessary testing can be conducted during your visit, and they feature flexible hours and appointments to accommodate alternating work schedules. Tri-State Health and Wellness is conveniently located in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Contact Dr. Alex today by visiting www.bluetristate.com. Mortgages for everyday heroes. From Michelle Hendershot and Homebridge Financial Services. If you're looking to purchase a home or refinance an existing mortgage, Michelle Hendershot can assist you every step of the way. With over 10 years of experience assisting law enforcement officers with their dream of owning a home, the choice is simple. Contact Michelle Hendershot today. Visit www.mortgagesforblue.com. Are you tired of sleeping alone each night? Feeling sluggish during the day? Is your snoring keeping your spouse awake at night? If you find yourself spending too much time on the couch, maybe it's time to visit Dr. Michael Doblin of At Home Sleep Solutions. Dr. Doblin is the preferred sleep apnea doctor of New Jersey's law enforcement officers. With the help of a custom-fitted oral device, you can finally say goodbye to noisy, antiquated sleep apnea machines. For more information and to schedule an appointment today, contact Dr. Michael Doblin. Visit www.bluesnore.com. Moment of Silence, Inc., along with Blue Suicide, is a nonprofit organization founded to support and raise awareness about the epidemic of suicides amongst law enforcement, military personnel, and first responders. For more information on how you can help, visit momentofsilenceinc.org. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a certified used vehicle, then visit Fetty Auto Group, located at the junction of Route 46 and Route 3 in Clifton, New Jersey. Fetty Auto Group stands shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in blue. Stop by and ask for Troy Mall and ask about the offers for first responders. For more information, visit FettyAuto.com. That's FettyAuto.com. The Blue Magazine, the law enforcement publication by law enforcement professionals for the men and women of law enforcement. The unfiltered voice of law enforcement. TheBlueMagazine.com. Are you patrolling with the pig? If not, you're doing it wrong. Check out all the newest swine swag at ProudPig.blue. They are dirty by design. Check it out now. Visit www.proudpig.blue for all your swine swag. Visit www.proudpig.blue. Resumes by Joe. Owned and operated by retired NYPD second grade detective Joe Federa. With over 20 years of professional resume writing experience and focusing on translating what we do as cops into language that the corporate world can appreciate. We put an emphasis on ensuring that your cover letter and resume will be best received by the applicant tracking system used by most companies today. Check out our website at www.resumesbyjoe.com or call Joe directly at 347-992-4523. Don't forget to ask about the 50% discount for BBO members and most unions across the country. Give us the job of helping you get the job. Contact Resumes by Joe today. If you're a member of the law enforcement profession and are looking to establish long-lasting business relationships with businesses that are blue-friendly, it's time to visit visitblue.com. Visitblue.com features some of the best doctors, lawyers, realtors, as well as other service providers, such as home improvement and financial services. If you are looking for reliable, trustworthy service providers, visit visitblue.com. That's www.visitblue.com. Founded in 2014 by retired NYPD police officer Michael Burke, Brothers Before Others is a national 501c3 law enforcement charity comprised solely of both sworn and retired police officers. Since their inception, Brothers Before Others has sent floral arrangements to the services of all line-of-duty deaths regardless of where in the country they occur, having spent over $350,000 to date. While the National Flower Fund remains their cornerstone, their benevolence has since grown well beyond that, even into the civilian world. For more information on how to get involved or to donate, visit brothersbeforeothers.org, or you can visit their public forums on all social media platforms by searching Brothers Before Others. Founded in 2016 by professional musician Neil Giraldo, 3-Chord Bourbon has developed a process that is defined as the perfectly tuned taste, blending carefully selected whiskey bourbon and rye whiskey stocks from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. Designed to be enjoyed with friends and family, 3-Chord Bourbon will leave you with the same feeling you experience after hearing that perfect song. You'll know their whiskeys are right from the very first sip. For more information on 3-Chord Bourbon and available merchandise, visit 3chordbourbon.com. Line of Duty Cigars, owned and operated by retired NYPD Detective Tom Werther. Visit lineofdutycigars.com for our handmade Nicaraguan cigars, custom ashtrays, custom humidors, and custom flask sets. Also, when you place an order, you choose a law enforcement, first responder, or veteran charity, and Line of Duty Cigars donates 10% to that organization. Planning a special event? Contact us today. Visit www.lineofdutycigars.com. And now, back to the Blue Room Podcast on the
.com. That's the favorite part of my show. Coming back from the commercial and be able to go .com. I love that.
I feel bad for
I
you.
find that annoying, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow,
He's pissed.
jeez.
He's like he's
He
attacking
is
everybody.
cranky, right?
Well, that's what happens when you eat like 4 pounds of weed brownie in one night, I guess.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All right, great first piece. Love hearing from the guys that are boots on the ground, shootings and doing good stuff, and not really giving a fuck about your feelings. Yes, I said the F word. I think we need to bring back the curse can, bucket, cup, mug, whatever it is.
Listen, you're looking at me.
The curse
Asking
jar. The curse jar.
Do you have one of those? Wasn't the rule that we don't eat in studio? Wasn't that the rule that we set months ago? Jacob, can you reach over and take that sandwich away from the savage?
You can eat if you want to.
Okay.
Oh,
You?
yeah. He doesn't know where your mouth's been. He's not going to eat that sandwich. What's wrong with you? All right, next up, Billy Prempe,
Yes, sir.
running for Congress, 30 years old, born in Paterson, New Jersey.
What's up, man?
You like that? It's like your neighbor, bro. Republican, running for the 9th Congressional District, New Jersey, which includes like Union City, Fort Lee, Secaucus, Passaic, Paterson, Haledon.
Nah,
to
Union's
name a
not a
few.
part of it.
Union's not?
Nah, it's not a part of it.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You double check.
I'm running for it.
Union City is not part of the district?
Not at all.
Oh, man.
That's District 8, I
Son of a-
believe.
I like that.
Hawthorne.
Hawthorne's a part
Hawthorne?
of it. Hawthorne's a part of it.
Question is, does Pasquale know that Union City is not part of it? Probably not, right?
Probably not. Pascal doesn't know what anything's going
Old
on
busted
right
up white guy. Just
I don't trust
on
that
the
guy.
Union
That
money?
guy has been doing shady shit. You know.
now. That's
Pascal?
Pascal, man.
Chris, say how you feel.
Just let it go.
All right, all right.
You want to let it rip?
What I've heard so far about Pascal is that he's been with
So far, he's been in office for like 10 years. He was
No,
the mayor.
he-
No. Longer than that.
like 25 years, right before
20,
I was
23
born.
23
Before
years.
I
No,
was
in Congress,
born,
in
he was
Congress,
been
in
in fucking
In Congress.
office.
In Congress, 23 years. Yeah.
23.
23 years.
He's been with underage girls in Dominican Republic.
Oh,
No, that's
stop.
Menendez.
Oh,
Menendez.
Jesus.
Stop.
Oh,
I say
Menendez.
that.
I'm sorry.
Menendez. That's Menendez.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna get sued.
I'm
we're gonna get sued.
confused with Menendez and Pascal. I'm sorry, man.
They're both douchebags. So it's all good.
Billy served in the U.S. Air Force. Thank you for your service.
Anytime. Thank you guys for
I
your
always,
service.
I have so much appreciation for folks that sign on that dotted line and say, "I'm going to go fight for our country," and we'll see how it turns out for us. But American dream, right? Parents emigrated from Ghana.
Yeah. My parents immigrated to this country in 1984, and I popped out in 1989. And the rest is history, man.
Same thing. My mom came to this country. '89, she came.
So
Oh,
you
nice.
popped out the same year that his mom came.
Just
here.
got here.
Was there confetti, Christian? Like when
No, oh
Billy
my
came
God,
out,
stop,
it
bro.
was confetti and balloons and stuff. So Pasquale, 23 years in Congress, 8th district, 9th district,
Yeah, they did a little bit of redistricting for him to take
Yeah.
control of the 9th district, as you guys know.
which was that political?
Yeah, it was definitely political, 100%. I mean, it wasn't for any legitimate reason. I personally believe it, especially after looking back at the data and looking at some of the information. I believe Pascal would have lost that. Luckily he got it. I guess for him, but it looked like Rothman was probably going to get that. And they did it in such a way where there was a lot more Democrats leading on one end that were already gung-ho Pascal. Pascal was, mayor of Paterson for quite some time. He was on the assembly, I believe it was, before that. And, kind of just swayed in his favor.
So career politician.
Yeah, definitely. He's kind of like Bernie Sanders, essentially.
So in the beginning of any political career, it usually starts off with community stuff. I'm at the community centers, I'm at the parks, I'm meeting the people, and then more often than not, what happens is that they get caught up in the machine, in the swamp, and then they just kind of forget about Paterson.
Yeah.
And now you are a child of Paterson.
Still am.
Prodigal son returned, never left, so not returned.
Yep. Except for the military stuff. That's it. Other than that, I've always been here.
What can you tell our listeners and potential voters for your congressional district that you're not going to do the same shit that this guy did?
Well,
like, where's the?
So here's the
Why
thing.
are you different than any other politician that just shits on their constituents and then just moves on and?
So here's the thing. It's like we've been dealing with the same policies, the same people for the past 40, almost 50 years now. We've been dealing with
Damn, 50 years?
Yeah, long time. I'm not just talking Pascal here. I'm talking about council, all this stuff. We've been voting Democrat. We've been going that same way for a very, very long time. Nothing's actually changed. I've lived under each of this guy's policies. When he was mayor of Patterson, when he was a congressman of the 8th district, congressman of the 9th district, and still to this day, nothing has really changed. There's a few small things that he did that was great. Notably, renovating the Great Falls place, building the Pasco Fire Department, naming it after himself, and all that. That's probably
that was nice.
a little bit of an ego kind of a bit of an ego move. Bit of an ego move, in my opinion.
I know.
But that's for the most part, that's the most he's actually done for the area. In terms of getting anything done with policy, like I don't know if you guys policed in Patterson or dealt with Patterson, but I've lived there my entire life.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
There you go. We're aware of this. Yeah, but we've seen shootings, all kinds of stuff go through the roof, and nothing's really changed.
Jesus.
And what really kind of got me to get involved in politics is I've always been very politically minded. I've always paid attention to American politics, world politics, and things like that. I'm a bit of a junkie like that. My father was very big into history, things like that. My mother's very big into history, so they taught me about a lot of things. Shortly after 9/11 happened, my father, he put me on to this documentary. It was like a 4-disc DVD set about like World War II and like socialism and communism and stuff like that. So it just really got me intrigued. I was lucky to get the teachers that I had growing up. In 7th grade, I had this teacher, Mr. Damicolo, in School 18. He was a fantastic guy. He lived under fascist Italy, under Mussolini and stuff. So he used to teach us all these kinds of things and told us to be very mindful for what's going to happen in the future. Something like this happened before in the past while he was growing up, and if we don't pay attention, something like this could happen in our lifetime.
Exactly. Yeah. Amen.
But here's the thing. I remember being a kid in his class, and it's like me and probably like 12 other kids, probably like 40 kids or something like that in the classroom. It was ridiculous back then. But I mean, about like maybe 12 kids. We were the only ones that were like paying attention. Whenever this guy would talk, I'd be like at the edge of my seat, like, holy crap, this guy's talking about some real stuff. Like, he saw this kind of stuff. We're all joking, throwing paper planes in the back of the class. Nobody paid any mind to this guy because, you're kids. But I was very fascinated and very intrigued. And I remember the things my father told me about and then what this history teacher's been telling me. And luckily, I've been able to, grow up around people that have seen real poverty, who've seen real hardship. I have lots of friends that are in the Jewish community that are from Fair Lawn. People that were Armenian, that went through the Armenian genocide. People that grew up in Yugoslavia when it was all together. I have friends and family. I have friends who've had their family killed off by the Soviet communists and things like that happened in their country. So it led me down a different path than many other people. So around 2011, when I came out of the Air Force and I came back home, this is around the time the Occupy Wall Street thing was happening in Zuccotti Park and stuff like that.
I remember that. I was in high school.
Yeah, I was a sheep back then. Back then, I was, I supported Barack Obama going in. Didn't like him when I came out of the Air Force.
Voted for him the first time.
I think we all did. We all wanted hope and change. We thought like, hey, this is
not
gonna be the guy.
Not me though.
That's good.
Because you weren't old enough to vote.
What were you, enlightened?
I was in high school during Occupy Wall Street. I was like, why do you protest? I didn't give a fuck about it, honestly. I was in my own world.
We were talking about Barack Obama, not Occupy Wall Street.
Right.
I bought in. I felt like he was young enough where he realized that he was going to have to live long enough to see the ramifications of whatever he put in place. And,
right.
And maybe he'd be a little bit more invested. Dynamic speaker, and then it took about a month into his globalist.
Yeah, because that's when he started going around dropping the drone bombs all over the place. He started dropping drone bombs and stuff. At the time, look, George Bush wasn't a saint either. Let's be honest here.
Of course,
but George
none
Bush,
none of them are.
You know what I mean? But it's like what was going on under George Bush. We were in Afghanistan. We were in Iraq.
Yeah.
We were in where else? Somalia, I believe it was. Pakistan a little bit. Then Barack Obama gets involved. Now we're in Jordan. Now we're in Yemen. Now we're in some parts. Yeah.
I thought we were allies with Jordan.
Yeah, we still bombed it. You know what I mean? It's
what?
Like, yes. Then we bombed Libya, and it just like I just started to see the war start to expand. It's like I was super. So just to give you a little bit of backstory, right?
And serving in the military, that's a big deal.
Right. So it's like
we don't need to be in places where we don't need to be.
So let me tell you a story, and I kind of break this a little bit down to a couple of people. Before I went into the Air Force, I had a friend. His name was Dan Avery, right, in Glen Rock, New Jersey. And this guy, he asked me a question before I went into the Air Force. This is like summer of 2009. I went into the military in 2009 of October 2009, that year, right? So we had this conversation, and he's like, "Hey, who you voting for this year?" And I'm like, "Oh, Barack Obama." And I'm gung ho Barack Obama. I don't know why I'm gung ho Barack Obama, but black guy, Democrat, everybody back in the block is
Charismatic.
Democrat. You know what I mean? So
Promise and change.
right. So it's like
it was like our JFK.
You-
That's how I
that's
thought. He was-
that's the persona.
That's
you know
exactly
I
what
mean?
it was. It was
The-
our JFK moment.
Deceitful though. Deceitful.
Well, of course,
then,
we found
not
that out
then.
later.
Yeah, not
we
then.
found that out
Of
later.
course.
At the time, we're like, he's got to be our guy. He seems like a nice dude. He seems like he's talking our language. He wants hope and change. We don't know what the hope and change for. We don't know what we're hoping for. But hey, this guy's got a plan. He's a black dude. You know what I mean? He's a black dude. Support the black dude. There wasn't really much thought towards it. And my friend asked me something. He was like, hey, how do you feel about the spending in the United States? I didn't know anything about this. How do you feel about deficit spending? No clue. And he's like, well, I think you should check out Ron Paul. Check out this guy called Ron Paul. And he pulls out his phone. Back then, it was like one of those Verizon flip phones.
The Razor phone.
No, not the Razor. It was like it was the Droid.
Razor phone was the
first
best phone
Droid
ever.
that came out. Yeah. So he came out. We were watching videos on Ron Paul, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch this old guy, talk about politics and stuff like that. I just didn't really tickle my fancy watching this kind of stuff. Paid no mind to it. Went to the military, and I was really proud to go in. First, African American president, mixed president, I should say. We have. My parents, they came to this country. They busted their face, did whatever they had to do. They brought 14 of our relatives to this country legally. They all went through a process, swore an oath, became American citizens, the whole works. And now we got a black guy that's running in the office. It's like, holy crap, like America's doing really good. We're
What
actually
we
moving
thought.
forward.
This is why we came here.
Right, and the thing that's crazy is like, people would say that the United States is a racist country. I'm like, there was a lot of white guys. This guy would not have won this if it wasn't for the white guys. Let's be honest here. It was like a lot of white people voted for people all across the aisle, voted for Barack Obama. I was one of those people. And it wasn't until I got stationed in RAF Mildenhall in the UK that a lot of my political opinions, well, not even political opinions, I would say like my foreign policy opinions began to change. At the time, I had the mentality, you know what, we got to go out there, get the terrorists, go kill them, take them out, whatever, because that's what they told us on the news, right? 2010 comes around, the Arab Spring's happening, all the Arab countries are like revolting against
Egypt
their
is one of them.
Egypt, yeah, they got rid of Hosni Mubarak in Egypt and stuff like that, and
I know, it's a whole huge shit show in the Middle East. There's civilization, Libya and Egypt.
oh yeah, we're getting that. We're getting there.
Chris is very into war.
That's I'm not a war guy.
He's very, very into war.
Chris is.
Very anti-war. But anyway, so 2010 wraps around, and this is about summer of 2010. I'm coming from the club on base with my supervisor and stuff. We're hanging out. And I come home right after we're done. Alarms start going off on the base. Fighter jets start booking off from our sister base. And the first thing that came to my mind is like, it's the freaking Russians or it's the Chinese or something. Like, who's coming to England right now? Why? You see, look, the jets would fly. They travel. I don't know if you guys have been in the military. You guys military? Okay.
Nope.
So look,
Nah.
usually, you'll see the fighter jets flying every now and then, just training, doing sorties and whatnot, right? But then when they're going back to back to back to back, popping the
Something's
sound
going
barrier,
on.
you're like, holy crap, alarms start going off. Everybody starts running to wherever the hell they got to go to. And I'm like, it was at this point, okay? Now, prior to this, I'm like, being in the Air Force is like working a regular job. You go home, you get in your green suit, you go out, you do what you got to do, right? Come back home, hang out with your friends. It was at this point that it became apparent that it's like, you're in the middle of you're in the military.
Something's going on.
Not even so much action that something was going to happen, but it was like, it became apparent that it's like, dude, you're in the military right now. You know what I mean? Like stuff's about to go down. Didn't know what was happening, right? On base, there were, so actually, I'm skipping a part. My supervisor, who I was just at the club drinking with, comes back to my apartment, and he's like, hey, Billy, you got to get dressed. Well, he's calling me Prempa. My last name's Prempa. You got to get dressed. You got to go to the squadron building. Squadron commander said that he has to have an emergency meeting, right? So we go to the squadron building. We drive all the way out there. And when we get there, about maybe 150, 200 airmen inside of this hangar. Commander comes down with the RAF commander as well, and he's like, hey, listen, you're just very brief, very short. We're instilling a humanitarian no-fly zone over Libya, which basically means we're peacefully going to bomb the shit out of them. Humanitarian no-fly zone. Think about it.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay. And he's like, we're doing this 16, everybody's going to be working 16-hour shifts, 7 days a week until mission accomplished by orders of the POTUS, right? So we're like, okay, sure, whatever, no big deal. Now, while this is happening, me, like a drunken moron, raises my hand and says, well, I don't understand why we're going into Libya. I'm like, I signed up to defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Libya does not stand a snowball's chance in hell of attacking the United States or even harming the United States.
Gaddafi.
Why are we going over there? It just didn't make any sense, right? And they said, well, listen, it's either you follow orders, or you get an Article 15, and that's that, right? And it was at that point that I was like, wow, like this just doesn't make any sense. Following day, a bunch of these flyers are like on all the doors across the base, right, saying that that certain news organizations were banned on the base. You could only get access on the televisions that they had there was for BBC, the BBC news stations, CNN, and AFN, the Armed Forces Network. That was it, right? So if you were using the internet on the base, whatever, you wouldn't be able to see that kind of stuff.
Because
or on the
they're
TV.
because they're all full of shit.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, and I mean, it's like,
No,
look,
straight up.
it's true.
They're all full of shit. And you sign up for the service. You don't really have like a law enforcement officer. You give up your right to question anything.
Yeah.
You may say, hey, why? But the bottom line is that when the boss says go, you go.
Yeah,
stand here, stand here.
That's why I got
what
into
you
a
do.
world of hell for even, raising my hand and saying, why are we doing this? Like commander asks a question. I'm pretty sure it's the same as officers.
Of course.
As well, too. Commander asks a question. It's a rhetorical question. It's not a real question,
right.
So, all this stuff starts happening, and I'm like, I need to know what's going on. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I've always been very anti-war growing up, against that kind of stuff. I don't want to fight. I don't want to kill. You know what I mean? I want to defend my country, but I don't want to actively be the aggressor to go out there and just say, let's go poke the bee's nest or something. That's just stupid. We're all going to die for what? For what? Why are we going to do this for? And when I started to see this kind of stuff happening, I was like, you know what? I want to do my own research. So I go off base, maybe like 2 or 3 days after. I go off base to my ex-girlfriend's house at the time, and I start looking online with her. We're like checking what Al Jazeera is saying.
Is that all you did?
Well,
Sorry.
He did say ex-girlfriend.
yeah, she's crazy, so we're not together anymore.
All right. Well,
I have a new woman in my life. I love her to death. But so I go off base. I start looking online at Al Jazeera, France 24, Press TV, RT, all these other foreign news stations to see what they're talking about. Right on CNN and in fact, the Armed Forces Network is probably the most. I wouldn't call it fake news. I would call it like omitted news. Like they would show clips of
but they have to. They have to, right?
Well, right. Basically the way that it shows is like, they show F-22s flying in the air, F-15s. Like the humanitarian no-fly zone in Libya was an absolute success. And that's practically the news for the day. You go on CNN, the same thing. Like, and they got all these people out there in Libya protesting, doing what they got to do. On CNN, they're saying that they're protesting because they want the support of Gaddafi to come in. I mean, they want the support of the United States and NATO to come and get rid of Gaddafi, right? Now, mind you, when this whole thing happens, when, planes are flying and all this stuff, nobody, unless you were like a officer or something like that, nobody knew that any of this stuff was going down. Nobody.
Yeah, but they can't afford all of your opinions. Have you ever seen the movie Good Morning Vietnam?
Yes.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
So he was a radio host, and he would get the news and had to go through a couple of guys, and they said, even though it's true, you can't talk about it because we can't afford you guys, the boots on the ground, to have an opinion on what we're doing because we know more about this than you do. So if you go to CNN or MSNBC or Fox, that's not where you get your orders from.
Right.
So what they're doing, and I'm not belittling anything that you're saying or
I
doing,
hear you.
but there is something to be said about the fact that you can't, in the police departments, there's policy written, and some of it's bullshit and some of it's real, but there's policy written, and there's reasons why the minions, and we're all minions,
It's true.
that the minions don't know about what's really happening, and you can't be fed the false propaganda bullshit that's coming from all those other places because they can't afford us minions who make up the majority of the forces, whether it's law enforcement or military, to actually have an opinion on this.
Right.
Your job is to do what you're told to do.
It's true.
It is.
True. You're right.
And you kind of have to put that in the perspective that they do have more information that we know about, and they can't put it out there publicly.
It's true, but here's the thing: the thing that, and you're absolutely right. That's called OPSEC, operational security, right? So I totally understand what you're talking about. The problem that I had was CNN and Armed Forces Network came and said that because mind you, this was a big protest. It was like 3/4 of the country went to like Tripoli for like this massive. I don't know if you remember that on TV.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Massive protest, right? And we're watching this thing, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty crazy. Like, I guess they don't want war. I didn't want war either. So I started looking at the research and seeing what they're talking about. Al Jazeera had like boots on the ground reporters, right? I think Al Jazeera and Press 24. Press 24 is like I believe it's like an Iranian kind of news station or whatever. But they're on the ground and they're interviewing like people, like a man on the street kind of thing, and they're talking to people like, hey, How do you feel about the protests and stuff like that? Do you want to get rid of Gaddafi? And what everybody was saying was like, listen, we don't want any American involvement. We don't want Western involvement. We don't want NATO involvement. If we're going to get rid of Gaddafi, some of us like him, some of us don't like him, but if we're going to get rid of him, we want to do it. The reason why we're out here is to condemn and distance ourselves and say that we want nothing to do with the NATO invasion. So they were aware of the fact that NATO was coming to bomb the crap out of them before we, the troops, were even aware of it. So they were straight up feeding us a lie. Because I'm like, well, sure, maybe there's a couple dissenting opinions down there on the floor, but I'm like, how could they possibly be aware of that and we're not aware of that?
Right.
So it's like, I get the point.
Well, they're aware of it because they're living it. And you're not aware of it because there's certain things that the millions shouldn't be aware of. Like you have to.
That's my point.
Yeah, you have to step up, and your orders are your orders.
That's my point.
But there's nothing wrong with questioning authority.
Right.
I grew up questioning authority, and
Right.
my wife, God bless her, has taught me
Diva
to
that you
you
are?
can question authority.
I
but
agree
at
too.
the end of the day, though, is that I don't care what job you have. If you don't like your job, you can leave it.
And that's what I'm getting to. So basically, I didn't like the direction that it was going in because when I started to see this, I'm like, okay, this isn't adding up. This isn't making any sense, right? The UN also did an investigation when these bombings were going on, and they went down and sent like their white helmets, blue helmets, I forgot what they're called.
Blue helmets, I
Blue
believe.
helmets, right?
Yeah, blue
They
helmets.
sent them down to like Libya to go and investigate, and they found that the United States bombed the hospitals, which is a violation of the
My
Geneva
God,
Convention.
yo.
They bombed the farmlands. They bombed all the main roads.
Schools.
And then they immediately I don't know about schools. That I don't recall hearing about, but I know for a fact they bombed hospitals. And there was one hospital in specific that they said that Gaddafi was harboring his troops inside of, and they were stockpiling weapons in his hospital. It was absolute bullshit. Because on CNN and all the other news stations, like, oh, look, we got these soldiers. But then the other organizations are going inside the hospital and recording it. And there's nothing but civilians dead in there. There are no troops. There are no weapons. None of this
Hold
stuff.
on, but they also said the same thing about Bush when they said
WMDs in Iraq.
that they were there. We bombed. Oh, they weren't there, and they found them years later. So there are three sides to every story.
Yes.
Again, I don't have the access that
I
you
get
have.
you.
It all comes down to the military-industrial complex.
I hear you. I hear completely what you're saying. But here's the thing: is like as more information started to come out, I began to realize that I'm on the wrong side of history here, because soon the conversation became, these are, rebels that are going against Gaddafi, and we got to support them. And here I hear you guys are bombing hospitals and farmlands and roads. You're violating the Geneva Conventions. Also, on top of that, when this thing happened, this was like 2010, around the time where they couldn't agree on the debt ceiling being raised and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys
the
remember.
government is shut down, I believe.
Right. So the government shut down like 2010. Troops weren't wondering if they were going to get their paychecks or whatnot. All this stuff was going on. And when this stuff started happening, I'm like, Congress was on recess. This guy didn't get a declaration of war. I don't appreciate the war in Iraq or Afghanistan, but at the very least, George Bush got a declaration of war to actually do the things that he did.
Right.
So at the end of the day, from a legal standpoint, fine, right? This guy instead went through NATO to utilize our forces to go and unilaterally bomb a country on the other side of the world that has nothing to do with threatening the United States Constitution. You got involved in a situation we did not need to be in. And then one of our fighter jets from our sister base, RAF Lakenheath, actually got shot down. Thank God Pararescue was able to come out there and rescue the guy before anything actually happened. But that's a situation we should never have been in to begin with.
Exactly.
So now, on top of that, as these rebels start coming together, right? It was like Al-Nusra rebels, Al-Qaeda, and a couple of other guys came together. Well, that's what formed ISIS. Like all these different terrorist sects
All this
that were
war
in Northern
talk is
Africa.
exciting Chris so much.
Yeah,
Let me just look at him.
We're paying the price
All right,
for our fuck-ups,
let's,
honestly.
let's pump the brakes on this a little bit because this is all like anti-Obama stuff that is not going to help your campaign, and we're here to help your campaign.
Wait.
Oh, okay. I thought
Because
we were having a conversation.
No,
All right.
we are. But
Anti-Obama
we
doesn't help. Yes, it does.
Well, I
stance.
want to hear more about. So the big argument here with like the Bush versus Biden thing is like they say, the Biden people will say, you're putting all the anti-Trump stuff, not Bush, anti-Trump stuff. That was the Biden slip up, right? I called them Bush. The anti-Trump stuff, not the pro-Biden stuff. And we'll talk about what you can do, because I've seen the interviews that you've argued about what the Republican Party would do for me versus what's going on now. What's your answer? What
Nothing.
right
The
now.
answer. The answer
No,
is
what are you going to do
what? Oh, what am I going to do?
as a
Oh, they're talking
Republican?
about the party.
Yeah, as a party.
He's been
as
doing.
a Republican.
He's been doing.
As a Republican, what are you going to do differently than anyone else? What is you representing the Republican Party going to
Sweat
be able
equity.
to do
Can I
for
answer that?
your
Sweat
District
equity.
9?
Go
What's your
ahead,
plan?
Because you guys had to say before I answer that. What were you saying?
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
Well, essentially,
That's
yes.
what he's been
It is sweat equity. And the reason why I say that is because there's a myth that's been perpetuated in the 9th District that this area is a complete lock. There's no way anybody's going to win it. It's completely controlled by Democrats. And this is a myth that's not just perpetuated by the Democrats, but by the GOP themselves. So when you say, what am I going to do representing the GOP or the Republican Party? I am a Republican because I agree with the values. I'm a conservative. My family, they have the same values. And I love what the Republican Party has done for the African-American community up until this day. Okay? That's why I'm a Republican. At the end of the day, though, the Republican Party, at least here in this district, or at least in the state, I should say, from what it appears like to me, they're working hand in hand with both parties because there's a lot of things that just don't make any sense. When I got into this race, for example, there were 3 chairmen I had to deal with, right? Bergen County, Hudson County, and Passaic County, as well as the NJGOP chairman, right? Oh, we're going to help you. We're going to support you. We're going to do whatever we got to do to make sure that you can get your word across, right? Not a dime from any of these organizations. And what I've noticed, and it's not because I'm black. That's the first thing that I thought. I was like, oh, are they racist? And I'm like, no. Because I looked at the history, like the voting history, the voting records. They don't back and support anybody in the 9th District because they perpetuate this myth that this place is locked. So let me give you some numbers so you can kind of understand what we're actually up against here. In the 9th District, there's 202,000 registered Democrats, right? On the Republican side, there's 69,362 registered Republicans, right? On the high end, Pascrell, and I'm talking from 2012 up until now, on the high end, Bill Pascrell always won with about 140 on the low end, 160,000 on the high end. On the Republican side, whoever the candidate was, on the low end, and the guy who got it on the low end in 2018, he didn't really post anything, he didn't really market, he basically just said, hey, I'm the guy, right? He got 40,000 votes. Right, out of 69,362. The highest anyone's ever gotten in this district was Dr. Hector Castillo in Patterson. Right, he got 65,000.
I've heard of him.
Good guy.
But there are guys that are registered as Republican versus Democrat, and then you have
Correct.
this big chunk of non-party.
Correct. That's what we're getting to right now. So now he got 65,000 when he ran. However, the real magic shows with the unaffiliateds because there's 179,000 unaffiliated voters. Whether you're talking Green Party, Socialist, Libertarian, any of those douchebags in between, right?
Workers' Party,
right?
yeah, you name it.
No, I shouldn't have said douchebags, but you get what I mean. But,
Allegedly.
but any of those guys,
Put a quarter in.
in between, right? On the low end, they're getting votes of about 1,300. On the high end, about 3,600, right? But there's 179,000, so that means there's about 3,000 that aren't. There's about 3,000 voting and about 173,000 that aren't voting. On the Democrat side, 202,000, 160 on the high end. So that means a quarter of the Democrats aren't coming out. 65 on the high end, 40,000 on the low end for the Republicans. That means practically every Republican's running. But none of the unaffiliateds are going. So when I go out and I campaign and I talk to people, I'm at my events or I'm going door to door. Especially, I'll tell you about Patterson because that's a hot topic. With
Well,
a lot of
I actually
people
want to bring up Patterson. I want to know what Pasquale has done for Patterson versus what you think you can do.
Fuck all.
here. Well, there you go.
What you can
Fuck
do.
all.
So
I can say
I want to
he
say
can't.
what has he done?
Fuck
for,
all.
We're sitting in Patterson. We're sitting in Haledon, but we're close enough to Patterson to say what has he done for Patterson, and what do you think you can do for Patterson?
Well, to answer your question, he's done nothing. You know, he's really done nothing. You know, maybe when he was mayor, he was a pretty good guy. Back in the day, he probably did a couple of good things for police. He probably did a couple of good things for the community. Okay, great. Somewhere around 2015 or 2016 at that time, he kind of went left field. You know, he stopped caring about everybody. Yet I noticed that a lot of the well, of course that's what it
got
is.
the money.
Of course that's what it is.
Yep.
He's
You
got,
look at
he's
it.
got, he's got over $1.5 million.
He got lazy.
Oh,
in the war chest.
1.7. 1.7.
What do you
He
have?
got lazy.
Me, I have about 35,000.
35,000
Yeah.
versus 1.7.
Correct.
That's a why?
Why?
Because
Well, yeah, you
it
see,
comes
but
for
here's the thing.
unions and
It's true
Of
because,
course
like,
it's
and
true.
I'll be honest. Like, I watched, I looked at all of his financial reports. I'm like, the police union supported him for quite a while. Almost every year that he ran up until the very end. And I would look at him. I'm like, oh, this guy was apparently a champion for the police.
and they back and police typically usually even if the candidate is not a supporter of the police, they back the one they think is going to win because that's going to gain them favor down the line.
Well, I understand that.
So do I.
I understand
Of
that. Like,
course,
you know, no hard feelings here. No hard feelings here. I don't know what the police want to do this election cycle, but I've noticed they haven't endorsed either of us. Maybe there's a reason before that. I don't know why. I mean, listen.
Police unions in this cycle have been amazingly quiet.
I don't blame them.
And the ones that have come out Republican.
Yeah, and you know what? I honestly don't blame him. And for example, when the PBA chief in New York came out and said that like he's endorsing Donald Trump, which I thought was weird.
Pat Lynch. I was here 2 weeks ago.
He was here? Pat Lynch?
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Because like I'd never seen a PBA,
major,
I never saw that.
Police union.
I've seen them endorse like local guys, but never
they never did major because it in the end it kind of hurts what we're doing because you don't want to attach yourself to anything. But right now in the current environment that we're in right now, there's any law enforcement officer that thinks that voting Democrat right now
you are
is going to be good.
Asshole.
You're a moron.
I'll say
a moron.
Double curse jar.
Double curse.
Put the curse jar. And listen,
here's the
you
thing.
wear a shield.
Here's the thing.
All right.
No, go.
No. Pause me.
Here's the thing. You have to put your priorities in order. So if pro-choice versus pro-life is a thing in your life, if you're a cop, pro-choice and pro-life take a back seat to your life.
Right.
And if you don't have the backing of the police department, you have nothing.
It's true.
So you have nothing, and that's why Lynch this year said. We haven't done this in over 100 years, where our union has actually. It's just tremendous. This is going to turn the table. This is going to change
national
the
news.
lives of every single 800,000 cops in the United States.
Yep.
About 800 grand.
Correct.
Their lives matter. So keep your feelings. I get it. Pro-life, pro-choice, immigration, healthcare, medicine, all that stuff goes out the window when the Democratic Party just throws the cops under the bus. And we are, the law enforcement community is the line between anarchy and civilization.
I agree.
It really is. So it was so desperate that the largest police union, the head of the largest single police union in a very city, the FOP is probably larger, obviously, but to turn around and say, it's just unprecedented. We need to keep this red. Because if it goes blue, then there's going to be a lot more red on the streets, and you don't want that.
No, not at all. And you know what's funny is like I don't really think it was a desperate thing to do because listen, Joe Biden's team and then Kamala Harris and then all these other blue check mark liberals came out here.
It's Kamala.
Whatever her name is.
She gets very upset if you say Kamala. It's
Kamala. I don't care. I'm not running against
me
Kamala.
neither. Me neither. I don't give a fuck.
But it's like at the end of the day,
Kuntala.
Well, I'm not going to say that.
Jesus,
I said that loud.
Got a little more class.
Oh, that's your Saturday show, Burke.
But them and this blue check mafia is what I like to call them on Twitter. They're out here talking about, we're going to donate money to the bail fund to help bail out these people that are doing all these crimes, looting, rioting, and all this kinds of nonsense. Then they got the whole bail reform in New York. I got a friend. His name's Walter. He's a bounty hunter. And I didn't really knew about the bounty industry or how it really works and things like that. And he really put me on to a lot of things. And he was like, listen, man, let me tell you why bail reform is a terrible idea. And he's like, these criminals, they go out, they do things, they go out on the road, right? The reason why bail exists is so that these people come back to court and face justice and deal with justice. And, if they go free, they go free.
Or more importantly, that they're not out tomorrow to commit more crimes.
Exactly. So it's like when there's no incentive for you to come back to court, right? Or there's no incentive for you to even obey the law. And then you got people who are trying to run for president, leader of the free freaking world, and you're saying, hey, we're going to donate to your bail fund so that you can go and get out, and you just punch some guy in the face with a freaking brass knuckles, or you burn down the building, and you can just go free like that. That doesn't really benefit anybody at the end of the day.
The question that I started this piece was, what do you think you can do for Paterson, where we are, that's not being done right now, to make the citizens of Paterson vote for you? Where do you feel that's going?
First things first, man. It's like what we got to do is we got to cut all the bullshit. All right, I'm just gonna say that out here.
Amen.
We got to cut all the BS because we have a lot of political leaders in Paterson. I'm not gonna say their names because they know exactly who they are. Right?
Fair.
A lot of these leaders that are out here that speak on behalf of the people yet do nothing for the people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
About well, this past Saturday, young gentleman was just killed in Pennington Park, right? He's a friend of one of my friends.
What
that
the-
know him, right? Yeah, he got shot 4 times, beaten to a pulp, and they threw him in the back of Pennington Park. Right? I have no idea how it happened.
I used to
right?
go there when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Damn.
and and so it's like we got all this violence going on in our streets, yet these guys are going out and they're supporting a radical narrative because it's what's popular right now. It's what the president to be, or the president that wants to be, wants. Right? You want anarchy,
Just
you want all this nonsense, so it
don't
sounds
say
like the
that.
cool thing to do. You guys want the Black Lives Matter? Okay, sure, fine, right? But at the end of the day, Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, is a Marxist not even my opinion, it's a fact. They're a Marxist organization.
They're backed by China. You know that, right?
Well, I know that. That's why I said they're a communist organization. So it's like, I see this kind of stuff and I see who they're aligning with and who they're really going for. Because listen, a place like Patterson, for example, someone told me I had a conversation in downtown Patterson when they were painting the Black Lives Matter mural, for example. This guy was talking about we got to get rid of the police. We got to get rid of these people. They're not really helping us. We need to start all over and build our own organization. And I said, how? Oh, we'll just train our guys. I'm like, in the meantime, the criminals are going to keep being criminals. You do know this, right? I was like, yeah, but we have to figure it out. I'm like, are you equipped? Do you have the training? Do you even have the know-how to deal with these kinds of situations? You guys want to defund police and we want to get rid of police. People are dying in our city, left, right, and center. Yet the guys who are running our administration here in Patterson, they say, oh, Black Lives Matter, yet they're not doing their part to even give the police what they need to actually get the job done.
Exactly.
And then what scares me is this. So here's and that's another reason why I wanted to come on this show, is there's something that I noticed that really scared me. Right? I had a conversation with a police officer the other day. He was telling me about the George Floyd bill. This was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had this conversation, right? To the best of my knowledge, the George Floyd bill was just like, you're just going to ban chokeholds, it's going to ban lynching. I agree with that. Sure. Shouldn't be dealing with that, right?
Of course.
What scares me is this. He was like, oh, but then it gets rid of qualified immunity. And then I thought, well, yeah, sure, sue the cops. I don't see a problem with that, right? But then he was like, well, you got to think about it like this, right? Because it's a double-edged sword. It sounds like a good idea on paper, and a lot of the things that they promote sound like good ideas on paper, right? But when you look at the long term, they're really not good things at all. If anybody could sue a police officer, let's say a police officer comes to your door and you feel like it was racist, or you feel like whatever the case may be, now you sue that police officer, right? You ruin that guy's career. He can't do his job. Any other cop that tries to do their job in the right way, anybody can make a claim. For example, what happened in Philadelphia, you should have shot him in the leg, you should have shot him in the foot, all kinds of things. Lawsuits can happen left, right, and center. Now you want to put that on the cops? You put something like qualified immunity, you remove something like qualified immunity, and it's a double-edged sword. I kind of agree with it, I kind of don't agree with it, but you remove something like that, and now the police aren't protected. You see what happened in Rockaway, New York. Cops are leaving left, right, and center.
I live there.
So you see what I'm talking about? You see what I mean? Cops are leaving. Like, am I lying here or no?
No, you're not
Cops
lying.
are leaving. So it's like, now what happens to Rockaway? What happens to these places? The places like New York, they didn't even fully defund the police. They took $1.7 billion out of their budget. Crime shot up 277%.
So what is the one thing? Pick one thing. Again, and I've asked this. I love what you're saying. I agree with everything you're saying. But the people that are voting, tell us one thing that you would change. What if you had a magic wand, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a magic wand and go, I'm going to change this. We're talking about law.
Okay.
Not because you can't change the way people think, and you can't change the way people act. All right. You're running for Congress.
Right.
Like it's Congress writes the law. Congress writes the law. They send it to the Senate. They approve it, and then the
Gets
president.
passed to the president,
Yeah,
right.
and then it goes. So, pick one thing that you would change that in Patterson, or even in the state, the whole state of New Jersey. What's something that you would change and you would get behind and say, I don't agree with this law, or we need to have a law that does this. Give these guys, give everyone that's listening right now something that says, this is what I'm going to do.
So
I get where you're coming from, and they know where your passion is, but there are a lot of laws
Okay.
that don't make sense, and there are a lot of laws that aren't written yet.
So there's two things that I'll say. So let's start with the police situation, because that's kind of what we're on right now, right?
Sure.
I believe in police reform, all right? But I don't believe in the police reform that a lot of the lefties are talking about. Their police reform is, let's get rid of the money and we'll build our own thing and, put it in fair land, right? What I believe needs to happen is funding needs to be increased for the police officers, because in my opinion, if you want to reduce the crime, you need to have the police officers need to be the most baddest motherfuckers of all time. You need to be well trained. You need to be well equipped.
Training.
You have to have the appropriate knowledge, the
Training.
appropriate know how to deal with all these kinds of situations. If you don't have that kind of stuff, how can you do your job effectively as an officer, right? So I took a mentality that I learned when I was in the military, right? If you go out and let's say, so I was an aerospace ground equipment journeyman, right? If I started working on some equipment, on this specific day I learned how to do this. On this specific day I learned how to do that, right? There's a whole record of everything that you learn. So if you screw up, they pull up your record. Why'd you do it this way? Oh, you did it that way? Well, you're a scumbag. You got to go, right? That's just kind of the way it is. And
You
I
were
think
trained that way. You did.
why'd you do it this way, right? Makes perfect sense.
Sure.
So now what I believe needs to happen is police officers need to go through the same thing. And I know you guys go through routine training, CPR and things like that, right? But what I believe needs to happen is there needs to be a federally federally recognized training curriculum that police officers have to go through, right? If you are a doctor, for example, or you can't just cut somebody's heart open at any time you want to say, hey, I'm a heart surgeon, right? You have to renew that license periodically to ensure that you can continue to be a doctor, right? We're lying to ourselves if we believe being a cop is as easy as you see it on TV, right? You're dealing with mental health.
Well, like a driver's license. You get it when you're 18, and now you're 90.
Correct.
And
That's
you're
a
still,
better analogy.
And you're still driving, right?
Right.
Like
That's a better analogy.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
I drive in Jersey. I look at these old fucks, and I'm like, oh, my God. You need to be retested.
So the way that I look at it is like, listen, if a doctor can't go and cut your heart without getting recertified, if a hairstylist can't cut your hair without being recertified and all these things, then it should be the same with police officers, right? And I see nothing wrong with that because what I do understand is that the job of the unions is to make the police look as good as possible and to protect the police officers as to the best of their ability. But from what I've also heard from numerous police officers, there's scumbags in the police force that they want to get rid of. But it's very difficult to get rid of these kinds of guys because at the end of the day, the job of the union is to make the police look as good as possible, right? So how do I help the unions, help the police, and help the community all at the same time? All the policies that I put forward, they're put forward in such a way where everybody benefits. I don't want to take away from anybody else, right? So what I want to put in place is this. If the police officers do something wrong, who actually polices the police, right? Typically, the first thing you go to is, well, it's the sheriff's department, right? The sheriff's department will kind of hold them accountable. Okay. But now what about this? What if the sheriff becomes corrupted? What if the whole entire unit becomes corrupted? What if the chief of this police department is a scumbag and everybody in the force knows he's a scumbag, but you don't want to quit because you're a cop. You want to keep your community safe. You want to do the right thing, so you're not going to leave. And you're also not going to go out there and say anything because he's going to be protected at the end of the day. So how do we do this, right?
Whistleblower.
Well, rather than a whistleblower, what I believe needs to happen is this, right? So the sheriff is an elected class, right? The people elect the sheriff, but the sheriff works at the police department. Something needs to be happening.
We all know that's a publicity thing. That's a what's the word I want? Public opinion, the popularity contest.
Right.
It's a popularity contest, and you know it from what you did. That you know that in your unions, it is a popularity contest.
Right. You know,
who's hey, let's do this, and who's throwing the bigger parties.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, cop talk. But it's like, at the end of the day, the people elect the sheriff, right? But like I said, what if the sheriff gets corrupted? Okay, the next phase is, all right. So here's what I typically revert to when I tell people about this stuff. You guys familiar with the Jameek Lowry situation, right? Jameek Lowry in Paterson, New Jersey.
He might.
Right. Anyway, so in short, a guy named Jameek Lowry from Paterson, New Jersey. He goes into the police department. According to the report, he was high on something. We don't know what it is. He was high on something, goes into the police department. He's live streaming on Facebook. He's claiming people are going to kill him, and all this stuff is going on. He's asking the police officers for water. They're not giving him water for obvious reasons because, well, we don't want any liability.
Yes.
You remember the story?
Yep, now I do.
Okay, so he's like, well, I'm not going to do that because, I'm a cop, and I don't want that. Understandable, right? Long story short, live stream goes dead. He goes to the hospital. According to the report, he was restrained. There's no explanation as to how he was restrained. You just know he was restrained. Following day, on Facebook, his face is swollen shut. He's dead. Nobody knows how he died. So let's play devil's advocate here, right? We don't know what happened to that guy, right? The police can do their own investigation. Mm-hmm. The sheriff's department can do their own investigation. And let's play devil's advocate. And they say, listen, nothing went wrong. It had nothing to do with us. Let's just say, I don't know, he fell. We don't know, right? And if the police came out and they were telling the absolute truth, no matter what truth they tell, the people will never believe the police.
Nope.
No matter what.
You can't have an independent agency that looks into that because we're not trusted. So you turn around and go, every single death in police custody is investigated by the FBI, which is the highest law enforcement level in the country.
Correct.
Then people will not believe that.
Correct.
Now, I actually remember that, and when you started speaking about that, but he claimed that he didn't have water, dehydrated.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there. The bottom line is that the communities don't trust us,
right?
And I don't care what report is given, they still will not trust.
Which is where the next phase comes
body
in.
cam footage.
Well, hang on. There was footage. I mean, he had it on live stream, so it doesn't matter. So even if the cop had their body cam footage and they put it out, the people still won't believe. That's not the point. So the evidence is not the problem. Okay, the evidence is not the problem. What the problem is the accountability and the transparency. That's what the problem is. So my solution to that is, well, a new class gets elected, right? You got a sheriff. There needs to be a community justice officer, right? Let's say, what's your name?
Christian.
Okay, let's say we want Christian to be the
No,
community.
no. We don't want
No,
that. No.
Hear me out.
You,
Hear me out.
Jesus,
Hear me
help
out.
me.
Hear
Just
me
say,
out.
let's just say Bozo. We're
me
gonna have Bozo be the.
Well, hear me. Okay, fine.
Anybody but
All right,
Christian.
So Bozo.
Bozo is the commissioner.
So Bozo's
Oh, we got that.
so Bozo's a local community officer, right? Hey, we want Bozo to go out and investigate this, right? Bozo will have his same team, same authority that possibly the FBI, maybe a little bit limited, same ability that the FBI would have to conduct their own independent investigation, but they're backed by the government. It's not like some rando that's coming in there, right? They're doing their investigation. Let's say two things happen. Let's say the local police department stonewalls this guy, right? Or let's say that this person also gets corrupted. There's a whole new frame that needs to happen now. I believe that the federal government, under the Department of Justice, needs to create a national police department, right? And the point of this the point of this organization is different from what the FBI does.
But there's way too many police organizations. You could never have an organization or a committee that oversees every single police department.
Correct.
It's impossible.
I understand
It's
that.
got to be on the state's level.
I understand that, which is why this is where the community officers come in. So let's say people get the community officer to do their investigation, right? They're stonewalled or they're corrupted or the people feel that they don't trust what they're talking about. That's the only time that they get involved.
They'll get involved in every case, though, because they don't trust anything. They don't trust anything. A guy gets locked up. He doesn't have to die. He or she doesn't have to die. I was mistreated. Oh, let's go to that commission.
I understand
It has to be more localized. And it has to be, but what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying, is that if a government level here says we have one for each state,
Correct,
and then it separates in between cities or whatnot, it can't rely its investigations onto one place because there's way too much, and people don't believe shit depending on what part of the state you live in, what part of the country you live in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So what happens here is like while the police are doing their investigation, sheriff's department's doing their investigation, community's doing their own investigation. If there's conflict, if there's no agreement, there's no clarity as to what's going on here, that's the only time these guys get involved. For all you know, it's a guy from Wisconsin that's coming to Paterson, New Jersey to investigate this. He doesn't give a shit about what's going on in the municipality of Paterson or the county or even the state. He wants to go back to Minnesota. His job is to come in here and say, look, these are the facts. This is what I've learned. This is what I got from the sheriff's department. This is what I got from the community officer. This is what I got from the IA with the police department. Right?
That's a great concept. The problem is that when these events happen, the reaction is immediate. So we're burning down our cities and we're smashing down small businesses, and then this group or this oversight committee takes months to actually come to a conclusion. And by that time, the damage is done.
Well,
right?
But at the end of the day, it's like we're in the same situation we have right now. You know what I mean? So it's like if nothing gets done, the city still burns.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like at the end of the day, what it's really going to take is it's really going to take a communal shift. It's going to take a huge shift in a lot of people's mentalities.
How about trying to retrain the community?
Well, of course, retrain the community because but then again at the same point. So then also, and that brings me to another portion here. The community officer's job is not just to investigate. The community officer's job is also to act as the bridge between the local police departments and the community as well too.
Sure.
Because I remember as a child growing up, I saw police officers all throughout my community hanging out. You know, Officer Brown was a good guy we shot basketball with, whatever. I don't see that kind of stuff happening these days. And I understand why you don't see that kind of stuff. You know, some of these officers are from different areas, from different locations, and I also understand why they don't hire officers from a local area. It's not safe to do something like that, right? This guy arrested me, let me go and ruin his life, right? So I understand that. But at the same point, they're not getting involved in the community in the way that they should. And the reason why they don't is because, listen, they don't know me, they don't trust me, the environment's hostile, so it's not worth the risk. I totally understand that. So what needs to happen is there needs to be a community outreach. There needs to be some kind of communication between the people and these police officers. Because if we don't know who's actually policing our communities, who's working with our communities, it's always going to be in a hostile environment. This is going to be difficult. This is not an easy solution. You know what I mean? This is not something that anybody can fix, but defunding it is not going to work. All right? You know, strong arming and saying this is the police all the way, that's also not going to work. At the end of the day, I know it sounds really ridiculous, it sounds really irrational, but at the end of the day, the people, the only thing they're going to care about is the transparency.
So you made a really great point. You hit a ton of hot spots, which is great, and I think that the communities here need to hear it. You've got 2 minutes to really we're on Fox News right now. We're on top of the Empire State Building.
Oh, wait, really?
And the whole and the whole
Wait,
community
we're on
is
Fox
listening.
News right
Yeah,
now?
pretty much. You've got 2
I
minutes.
would've dressed better.
2 minutes to tell us why you're the better candidate. Let's spend the last 2 minutes before we go to pee break to say why. Wrap that whole thing up and say why you're the best candidate for that job.
I'm the best candidate because our current candidate has completely turned his back on the police. He's turned he's turned his back on our community. He doesn't care about our community. He's going where the popularity goes. And right now the popularity is going towards, let's see how radical and how progressive he can actually be. Even if it's at the detriment of the safety of the people in our community. I don't agree with that. I've lived in Patterson my entire life. I live in the 4th Ward. The 4th Ward, some places are nice, but for the most part, it's a very dangerous area to grow up. You know, about a month and a half ago, about 2 people just got shot outside of my apartment, right, not too long ago. He doesn't care about this. He's not talking about this kind of stuff, and he's actually actively working against these kinds of people. I don't like the drug problem. I don't like the homelessness problem. I don't like any of the problems we have going on in our city. But at the end of the day, if you're going to go inside with a guy who supports the bail reform, who supports getting rid of the immunity for the police, and let's to touch back onto that immunity topic, if Pascrell supports this and he pushes this through, this is why I believe this is very critical. This is what I wanted to bring. Why I wanted to come on the show. Is like, if he supports this bill and he pushes this out, this removal of immunity, and he wins. If Cory Booker wins and he's a senator, you better believe he's going to sign that. If Joe Biden wins, you better believe he's going to sign that.
Yeah, we're screwed.
It's only a matter of time before those 800,000 police
quit.
officers you talked about are gone. And once they're gone, there's only 2 choices: absolute anarchy or martial law. And nobody wants martial law at the end of the day. No. And if that's what this guy is pushing for and that's what he's supporting, he's actually telling us that he wants us to be unsafe. Rather than working with the police, holding the police accountable, giving them the better training, giving them the education that they need to become better officers so they can do their job a lot more effectively, he turns his back. So at the end of the day, what's more important to me, more than the politics, more than anything, because I live in Patterson. He claims to be from Patterson. No one ever sees this guy. I live here.
Ever.
I see this stuff. I've lived this stuff. I've got friends that have been shot. I've got family members that have been shot. I got a lot of people that have lost their lives because of this nonsense. And we've been voting the exact same way for the past 23 years on the congressional level, for the past 40, 50 years on a municipal level. We've been voting Democrat. And they're all on a point where if you were a Democrat back in 1995 and you held the exact same values, the Democrat Party has gone so far left that you're considered far right. They don't stand for what the Democrat Party stood for back in 1995. And someone like Basement Bill, and I call him Basement Bill because he's afraid to come out, this guy is like, how do I stay relevant? Let me go as far left as possible because that's where everybody's going. That's where the youth is going. That's where the youngsters are going. Let me go down that route, even if it makes our district look bad. He's more concerned with his own ego. He's more concerned with actually holding the power than actually doing the right thing. When's the last time you actually saw him in any of the communities in the 9th District?
I don't remember. I can't recall.
At all.
You see him on TV. You see him on NorthJersey.com. You see him at a press conference. You see him at a photo op. But you don't ever see him going out there, touching the pavement, talking to the people, finding out what's on their mind because he's completely out of touch. And on top of that, he believes he's entitled to this seat. And the party will protect him to get that seat no matter what. The GOP will never run in this area because they believe, hey, it's a lock. And I believe they're working hand in hand with this guy. And if people are getting shot and they're getting killed in my community, if the drugs are going into my community, if the homelessness is coming into my community, there's nothing being done.
They are.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if all this stuff is going on in my area, it's because of you. It's also because of both parties. So I'm running in here because I'm saying, listen, I've got nothing to lose in this race. Nothing to lose at all. Pascrell has everything to lose. He's been in Congress for 23 years. The typical congressperson makes $145,000 a year. How is this guy making $8.7 million every single year? He's the 69th. You probably didn't even know that. He's the 69th richest member of Congress.
What?
Yes.
Damn.
How do you make? How do you make $145,000 a year as a congressperson and suddenly you got $8.7 million in the bank every single year? How are you doing this? You look at the financial records, you see where the money's coming from. It's coming from all these political organizations, the NJEA, and a lot of these groups that are keeping him where he is, and it has nothing to do with us.
The Democratic Party is falling apart.
It's fine. What, November 3rd?
It should
It's
be.
falling
It should.
apart.
Well,
no, unless you're Democrat, November 4th.
November 4th. It's November 4th, guys.
The-
Guys, listen, guys. November 4th. Billy Prempe, 9th Congressional
November 3rd.
District.
Jesus.
You said 4th.
November
It's the third.
3rd.
If you're a
November
Democrat,
3rd. If you're a Democrat, November 4th.
Yes.
No, it's November 4th. It's 4th if you're a Democrat. It's 4th if you're a Republican. It's 5th if
fourth
it's.
if you're a
They
Democrat.
said the Democrats should be dissolved.
Billy,
to beat the zone.
stop.
That's it.
Billy Prempe,
Billy.
9th District,
Billy,
New Jersey.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Seriously.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Is there a website? Is there
Billy2020nj.com.
Billy2020nj.com. You can donate there. You can post your comments. But honestly, the best thing you can do is go out and vote.
Yes.
Right? On
Yep.
November 4th?
Third.
Third.
Well, if you got your ballot, get your ballot in as soon as possible. Because the way I
voted today, November 3rd.
Yeah, election day's every day right now in this weird election we got going on right now.
Every day
Bizarre.
between now.
I'm voting in person. I don't trust this mail.
It's not going to happen. Just mail it. It sucks. I know. It's not going to happen, unfortunately.
The booth is yelling at
Murphy's a
me.
scumbag.
The booth is yelling at me. Billy Prempe, 9th District, New Jersey. Let's get rid of Pasquarello. Let's get rid of Mendez. Let's get rid of Booker. Right?
Yeah, Booker, he's full of
All right.
shit. Honestly.
Another conversation. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back in about 4.5. Billy Prempe, 9th District. Go out there and pull the trigger, fill the dot, pull the lever, do whatever you got to do. All right, guys?
We'll be right back.
No, we won't.
If you are searching for a doctor that truly cares about your overall health and well-being, contact Dr. Alex at Tri-State Health and Wellness. For more than 11 years, Dr. Alex has been treating law enforcement professionals and their families while focusing on one-on-one care so you never feel rushed. All necessary testing can be conducted during your visit, and they feature flexible hours and appointments to accommodate alternating work schedules. Tri-State Health and Wellness is conveniently located in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Contact Dr. Alex today by visiting www.bluetristate.com. Mortgages for everyday heroes. From Michelle Hendershot and Homebridge Financial Services. If you're looking to purchase a home or refinance an existing mortgage, Michelle Hendershot can assist you every step of the way. With over 10 years of experience assisting law enforcement officers with their dream of owning a home, the choice is simple. Contact Michelle Hendershot today. Visit www.mortgagesforblue.com. Are you tired of sleeping alone each night? Feeling sluggish during your day? Is your snoring keeping your spouse awake at night? If you find yourself spending too much time on the couch, maybe it's time to visit Dr. Michael Doblin of At Home Sleep Solutions. Dr. Doblin is the preferred sleep apnea doctor of New Jersey's law enforcement officers. With the help of a custom-fitted oral device, you can finally say goodbye to noisy, antiquated sleep apnea machines. For more information and to schedule an appointment today, contact Dr. Michael Doblin. Visit www.bluesnore.com. Moment of Silence, Inc., along with Blue Suicide, is a nonprofit organization founded to support and raise awareness about the epidemic of suicides amongst law enforcement, military personnel, and first responders. For more information on how you can help, visit momentofsilenceinc.org. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a certified used vehicle, then visit Fetty Auto Group, located at the junction of Route 46 and Route 3 in Clifton, New Jersey. Fetty Auto Group stands shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in blue. Stop by and ask for Troy Mall and ask about the offers for first responders. For more information, visit FettyAuto.com. That's FettyAuto.com. The Blue Magazine, the law enforcement publication by law enforcement professionals for the men and women of law enforcement. The unfiltered voice of law enforcement. TheBlueMagazine.com. Are you patrolling with the pig? If not, you're doing it wrong. Check out all the newest swine swag at ProudPig.blue. They are dirty by design. Check it out now. Visit www.proudpig.blue for all your swine swag. Visit www.proudpig.blue. Resumes by Joe. Owned and operated by retired NYPD second grade detective Joe Federa. With over 20 years of professional resume writing experience and focusing on translating what we do as cops into language that the corporate world can appreciate. We put an emphasis on ensuring that your cover letter and resume will be best received by the applicant tracking system used by most companies today. Check out our website at www.resumesbyjoe.com or call Joe directly at 347-992-4523. Don't forget to ask about the 50% discount for BBO members and most unions across the country. Give us the job of helping you get the job. Contact Resumes by Joe today.
If you're a member of the law enforcement profession and are looking to establish long-lasting business relationships with businesses that are Blue friendly, it's time to visit visitblue.com. Visitblue.com features some of the best doctors, lawyers, realtors, as well as other service providers such as home improvement and financial services. If you are looking for reliable, trustworthy service providers, visit visitblue.com. That's www.visitblue.com.
Founded in 2014 by retired NYPD police officer Michael Burke, Brothers Before Others is a national 501c3 law enforcement charity comprised solely of both sworn and retired police officers. Since their inception, Brothers Before Others has sent floral arrangements to the services of all line-of-duty deaths regardless of where in the country they occur, having spent over $350,000 to date. While the National Flower Fund remains their cornerstone, their benevolence has since grown well beyond that, even into the civilian world. For more information on how to get involved or to donate, visit brothersbeforeothers.org, or you can visit their public forums on all social media platforms by searching Brothers Before Others. Founded in 2016 by professional musician Neil Giraldo, 3-Chord Bourbon has developed a process that is defined as the perfectly tuned taste, blending carefully selected whiskey bourbon and rye whiskey stocks from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. Designed to be enjoyed with friends and family, 3-Chord Bourbon will leave you with the same feeling you experience after hearing that perfect song. You'll know their whiskeys are right from the very first sip. For more information on 3-Chord Bourbon and available merchandise, visit 3chordbourbon.com. Line of Duty Cigars, owned and operated by retired NYPD Detective Tom Werther. Visit lineofdutycigars.com for our handmade Nicaraguan cigars, custom ashtrays, custom humidors, and custom flask sets. Also, when you place an order, you choose the law enforcement, first responder, or veteran charity, and Line of Duty Cigars donates 10% to that organization. Planning a special event? Contact us today. Visit www.lineofdutycigars.com. And now, back to the Blue Room Podcast on the Blue Broadcast Network.com.
Great. All right, guys. So we're back here in studio. As you can see, there's way more people than we started with. But before I forget, I want to thank Billy Prempe, running 9th District Congress in Jersey. I want to thank Captain Alan Davis, Chester City Police Department, for coming in with his guys to tell the story. It's so imperative. It's important that we remember those that came before us and those that did the job. It's a monster. So when we talk about guys like Roberts and what Alan Davis did, it's for a reason. All right, guys. So that's what we're doing. So in the studio right now we have Michael, the real Mike the Cop Burke.
Yeah. That's my new catchphrase. Do you like it? I invented it just right now.
Yeah, he just came up with that himself. Yep. Retired NYPD police officer, president and founder of the police charity Brothers Before Others, a.k.a. BBO, and owner of Proud Pig Apparel. Welcome back, Mike.
Hi, Tom.
How are you?
Not bad.
Oh, yeah.
Hanging in there. Do you know my friend, Unknown?
I'm not yet.
We're
gonna get to it. But in the words of the congressional shithead Omar Ilan, some people did some things today. So what did BBO do today?
Oh, so today we went to Alice Roberts' house. Charles Rob Roberts, who he was a member of BBO, who passed away of COVID. Glenridge Police Department. We went to his house today and brought the Blue Line Bears that our friends Megan makes. And we also brought T-shirts and hats in memory of Rob. So yeah, we did that today, and decals and memorial bracelets and stuff like that. So we were met over there by the Glenridge Police Department, about 7 or 8 members. Myself and Josh went, and we made that presentation because with those bears, they can put them in the mail and mail them to people, but it's always better to have those bears treated with that respect because after all, they're made with the officers' actual uniforms.
Uniform shirts.
So yeah, we
that's pretty
presented
cool.
them today over there at their house in Glenridge.
So Charles Roberts, 45 years old, died on April 21st after contracting the COVID-19. Healthy individual. So those that we often see in the news media whether COVID's really serious or not and how you should react to it. This is a 45-year-old police officer, relatively healthy, contracted it and succumbed to that awful disease, if you will call it disease. But we honor him today because tomorrow's his birthday, right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow's birthday.
And I did not realize that, and I'm an idiot for not realizing that. I mean, they open up. That's another thing about this. Like, we're blessed and honored that the fallen officers' families would open up their homes to us because it is very intimate. And this
that
is
close to some.
Yeah, I mean, it's his birthday tomorrow, and then here they are, allowing us to share this stuff with them. And I just want to say thank you to them again, like we did today, but publicly, that they would let us come there and do that and honor Rob that way because he meant a lot to us and the charity as well.
Well, it's a big deal to we often say never forget, never forget, never forget. And we don't care what day of the week it is or the day of the month. Like something's coming up. We just want to honor those that came before us and make sure that we never forget. I believe a lot of our politicians have forgotten 9/11. They've forgotten how the sacrifices that officers have given, and now they're throwing us under the bus and they're treating us like second-class citizens and things like this.
Well, I can guarantee you next year, around September 1st or September 2nd, coming up on the 20th anniversary, you're going to see a line of politicians that are suddenly going to remember the sacrifices that were made because it's going to benefit them, and then they can go fuck themselves.
Bill Pascrell included.
In my humble opinion.
I hope so.
I don't know where the swear jar is, but I did say the F word.
So also in the studio, as part of our segment to highlight charities that support our law enforcement community, we have with us Officer Joe DiParisi, Officer Chad David Wilson, and Officer Joe Parlapiano. I got that right?
You did.
Like that, right? From the police charity Sup Bro. So instead of my
Sup Bro,
instead of my typical, hey guys, it's Sup Bros.
Chad, say your full name again.
Chad David Wilson.
Now, I don't know why, but for some reason I felt like I heard Charles Nelson Riley, like on the old game show.
In the game show?
Yeah.
Are you in the middle square? In the middle square?
I don't know
Actually, I am in the middle square.
Circle gets the square.
So, Sup Bros. Obviously, a take on what's up, bro? Sup, bro? The name. Who came up with the name?
So, we didn't really come up with the name. I know there's a lot of Jersey cops out there watching us. And just cops in general, it's a term that a lot of cops use. Sup, bro? Sup, bro? In the fire service, sup, bro? Because we're all brothers, and we kind of use the catchphrase, the term, and we turned it into what it is now.
So you've taken that little term, and
do you have any Sup Sis shirts?
Actually,
not yet.
That's in the workings.
I want 10% of that. It was my idea. I just came up with it. Okay, we'll see.
Sup, bitches?
It's all about the trademark, baby.
Oh, no. We don't call them that
So
word.
how did you guys form? How did the charity, you guys sitting around in the basement somewhere, naked and watching porn and be like, hey, what's up, bro?
More like the ready room at our department.
All right, that works, too.
Can Unknown join?
Absolutely.
He doesn't say much.
Sup, bro? That's about it.
How did it start?
So we had 2 of our officers ride down with Law Enforcement United to Police Week. They rode bicycles down in 2018. Joe was one of them. He can kind of elaborate on it.
Yeah, we rode down.
Yeah, he looks like the only one that could bike ride, 250 miles, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's because
I
he's
was
sitting
there.
down.
I did not bike. I drove.
I drive too. I fly.
I've talked about it for years. I mean, I became a dispatcher at 18 years old, so police is my life. I know nothing else. I've always talked about riding down. People think we did Unity Tour. We actually did Law Enforcement United. Chad started a few years ago helping out with the support side. on a break, Chad would be there setting up food and drinks for everybody on the breaks. And I didn't train, but I decided to do it. I bought a bike, and me and a couple guys, TJ, Joe, we decided to go down. And every intersection was controlled by cops, of course, and we're getting escorted by cops. And every intersection is like, hey, what's up, bro? Thanks. What's up, bro? And so the group of 100 people started doing that. Sup, bro? Sup, bro? So we figured afterwards we might as well do T-shirts, and the T-shirts turned into a year later raising $10,000 and through our PBA and turning into an actual 501c3 and raising money for police officers.
What's your position in that 501c3?
I am the CE bro.
Booyah.
CE bro.
That's
the
me.
CE bro. And
Yes.
you?
I am the Delabro.
Delabro?
Like a delegate, but he's a Delabro.
Yeah.
And you're?
I am the CF bro. I am the
CF
money
bro.
man.
CF bro. So what's the mission of the charity?
We our goal is to donate funds to either officers that are injured in the line of duty or to families of officers or first responders that are killed in the line of duty. So that encompasses obviously police, fire, EMS, and we are incorporating military.
So when did you guys start?
We found
What was like the original, like the incorporation of the 501c3?
Yeah, we founded officially in July of last year, and we've been going ever since.
And what have you accomplished from the time you started to now? What are some of the things that you guys have been able to do?
I mean, basically, we're obviously...
We drink beer.
That's water in that Solo cup.
Not beer.
White Claw doesn't count, dude. White Claw doesn't count.
No, that's truly.
No,
that's,
truly.
That's truly manly.
Truly speaking, White Claw doesn't count.
I mean, we're funded on donations, obviously.
Yeah.
We have T-shirts, challenge coins. It was all funded by donations. Mainly, actually, a tow company out of Chatham, New Jersey, DeFalco's. They bought all of our T-shirts, and we sell them on our website, supro.org. And we've given numerous police officers. Actually, recently, an EMT, he died from COVID. We gave his widow some money. So we're really small now, but obviously we're trying to
Didn't
get
you
out
guys
there.
do something for the Santiago family too, as well? Melvin Santiago, right? You did
his
something there?
mom. Before we were actually incorporated, we started SupBro through our PBA. We gave Melvin's foundation through his mom $5,000 after we went down to D.C. We sold T-shirts and stuff. And also Frankie Williams from the New Jersey State Police, his widow, we gave $5,000.
He died in a car accident,
Car
right?
accident,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
on the line
yeah.
of duty, correct.
So what can the viewers do to help? The guys that are watching the show say, hey, you know what? I can get behind that. How can they help?
Either go to supbro.org, T-shirts, we have face masks, we have challenge coins, koozies. They say SupBro on the bottom. They're awesome. I actually have a few for you. Also, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App at SupBro Family. Obviously, we need donations, and this is our mission.
Of course.
It's good to say that we don't take a dime from it, any of us. If I want a T-shirt from the company, I pay with my own money. You know, we don't give ourselves anything. So
I wish you talked to Joshua Oliveri about that.
It's a really good mission, and when people find out about us, they love us. We only have like 1,700 followers on Facebook and Instagram at SupBro Family. So nobody knows about us.
Do you guys have
Well, we're going to change that. That's why we have
I
you
hope
guys
so.
here.
I
It's
hope
really eerily similar because our first thing that we did was for the Santiago family. It was before we were a charity. BBO started out as a T-shirt company or an idea, and then when members started coming to the page and looking for, they're like, "Oh, you starting a group?" I was like, "Shit, I guess."
I guess I am.
I guess I'm starting a charity. I guess I'm starting a charity. So it was already trademarked. So I just gave the trademark of BBO to the charity, and we took off from there. So you guys are on a similar path to us, and that's kind of how we gravitated, towards you. And it's a really cool fucking name. I love it. It's simple, which is always the best. You know what I mean?
And the
That's
fact
what
that Chad is super hot.
Yeah.
And single.
Charles
Just
Nelson
saying,
Riley.
single, right?
Yes.
I know that.
Yes.
Tom, remember
Yes.
this is a podcast. There are cameras here, so you're not fooling our viewers.
Well,
you're like a cop. You're like a cop 7.5.
I try my best. I try my
A
best.
5.6 on the street, but a cop 7.5 for sure.
I take that from Tom because Tom and I go way back. We're not going to say exactly how.
Oh, really?
but-
Okay.
Way back. So, it's a funny story is that I got married in Turks and Caicos on the beach,
Right.
2001, I think. And
Does that count in the United States now?
Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, we brought our own. My wife's Jewish, so
Right.
we brought our own rabbi
Mazel.
to officiate, and then we had to have an official aficionado from Turks and Caicos, and this guy showed up. He was like 80 pounds, 70 years old, and he's wearing this cheesy ass brown suit.
He's
and
not
like,
talking about me.
And
I'm,
waving,
just
and
trying-
waving.
I'm fascinated by how he's going to bring this full circle
No,
back to you.
so
I'm
he-
full circle.
no, he-
I talk about me right now.
I call him the chicken doctor. So they had like a bag of chicken bones, and he officiated the ceremony there for the wedding. And then we go back every few years. And then one year I was like, my wife and I went there, and I threw a post out on one of the whole lots of platforms that I have. Said, hey, we're going to be in Turks and Caicos. Any cops hanging out? And Chad was like, yeah, I'm here on my honeymoon. So my wife and I, we were about a mile down the road, and we got out of the car. Said, "Oh, we'll meet you for lunch." And we walked a mile down the road, and we sat, and we met, and never knew, we never met before, and we just clicked. We had a good time, and we drank beers and whatever, and had lunch and stuff and whatever. And then when we were going home in the airport, we met them again, flying out at the same time, and then we ran into each other like once or twice. After police week, before police week,
right?
And then I saw him police week. I was like, "Oh my god, hey, what's up, bro?"
Jeez, you think you would have invited him on the show and not me? Christ, with the connection that you
No,
have.
I had connections.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So I'm like, "Oh, how's your wife?" She's like, "Oh, it's my ex-wife." I'm like, "Yay!"
So apparently, those marriages only count half the time.
Yes,
you get married there.
exactly.
Did you get married there too?
So
I went. Was I married there?
Yeah.
No, I was
Oh,
not.
okay.
no, that was your honeymoon spot.
That was
You
my
were married in
honeymoon
Jersey
spot,
and then
yes.
went there.
Yes, I will never
And
go
then
there
when
again.
they landed in Jersey, apparently his wife was like, they ripped that shit right up.
Now you only go with the bros.
I only
What'd
go
you
with the
say,
bros.
Unknown? What was that?
Now you only go
You got
with the bros.
Unknown, you got to get closer to the microphone because of the bag and all that.
Bug on
There
the
you go.
top
How
of the
about now?
unknown's bag.
There we go.
I think that's the same fly that attacked.
What's his name's fly is on your head.
Exactly.
Yeah, Pence's fly is in the building.
Does SupBro have anything in the works right now? Is there an event or anything coming up in the near future?
We just did a quick last minute hurricane victim, Hurricane Laura for Louisiana. I have a contact down there. He sent the 18-wheeler up, and we did we filled like half a tractor trailer. Upcoming, we got some things in the works. COVID obviously killed us. Police Week is our big thing. It got canceled this year. It's a really fun time. It really is. But that's our big fundraiser.
You guys did something for there was a Port Authority cop hit by a car.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah.
And you guys were
We were the first ones. We gave we donated 100 Get Well wristbands to his command, the Holland Tunnel, and to his family.
Shout out to Dalen Creamer.
Yeah, from
Right?
South Carolina.
Yeah, he does them. The
Laserworks.
Laserworks. Yeah, with a Z.
Laserworks with a Z.
Yeah,
he made
good
them
dude
for us, and we donated them to his family and his command. And I believe after that they bought for each command.
Yeah, and he's actually doing very well and almost back to work, considering what happened to him, how he was thrown so
got
far
hit
by
by
the
a
car and
car in
everything.
Osage
Yeah, he
City.
was
All right.
banged up.
Driver.
Yeah,
Well, that's good.
Yeah, we also
Fighter.
We also did the same thing for a Summit police officer, Anthony Pizek. He was injured in a motor vehicle accident during a pursuit. We sold bracelets, the same bracelets, through Laserworks, and that was a good, fundraiser to get him some.
So Line of Duty Cigars has to go to Laserworks to get the fancy bracelets?
Yeah,
All
good
right.
dude.
Anthony
All right, I'm
Pizek's
there.
a really good
He
dude.
donates way more than he'll accept money. I mean, it's hard
No,
to pay the guy. He's really
I get you get it. I get it.
Yeah, so
We donate a lot.
I mean, the
It's-
plan,
it's hard
like
to
you were talking
take
about
money.
Fleece Week, that got messed up, but we do that Blue Room down there and stuff like that. We're hosting him. We're bringing him to Police Week, and he's doing. I think the number he gave me, he's like, all of us. He's like, is 10,000 enough? I'm like, bro, 10,000 is a lot of bracelets. We'll fly him down. We'll put him up in a room. We'll give him a booth. We don't want him to go into his pocket, but in return,
By a room, you mean he sleeps with you?
room adjacent, because.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear me tell my Studio 54 story in there? All right, I'm not getting into that on
No,
air, but I
no.
thought maybe you did.
This is my show. That's your show.
All right, yeah. So we'll put them up, and the idea was live while we're there when we're the Blue Room. The idea behind that with we partnered with Danny Del Valle on that.
How do you pronounce that?
Del Valle.
De Valle.
Del Valle.
De Valle.
So the idea is when the yellow plaque families, which are all the survivor families, they have the yellow placard on. They come into the Blue Room. You're there. You know how it works. besides having now Johnny Castro, who was doing the portraits and meeting these people for the first time, which is really, if you're there, it's an amazing thing. These families seeing him for the first time when he painted those very intimate portraits of their fallen, the fallen.
And to
officers.
be in that sectioned off area with the blue couch, like the blue ropes around, is like they feel like they're the most important person in the world, and they should.
Right. So, I'm going to take a quick detour and tell one quick story what kind of impact it is. So, towards the end of the night, the third night, we had a wife come in there, and the mother, and then they had a baby who he never got to meet. He was killed in the line of duty while she was pregnant. The baby was crying. We opened up the rope. She came in. She changed the baby in there. We said, have a drink. She goes, no. I'm like, listen, you need a drink. So she had, we had booze snuck in there. She had a little drink. They left. The husband came back at like 1 o'clock in the morning just to shake everybody's hand to say thank you, because that's the first time that she felt normal in a very long time. So these things have impact. People might not think they do, but they do. But to get back to Dalen, what we were doing then is he was going to be in a booth next to Johnny Castro, and we will do this next year. And if a fallen officer family was there, he would do the bracelets right there on the laser, and they would walk away with bracelets with a memorial for their fallen, loved one.
So I know, Mike, you love coming in and you love hanging out with us. I think probably more specifically me.
Yes.
It's not a sexual thing, but.
No. You are a cop 9.2.
We jive.
Yes.
We jive.
Yeah.
Wait, it's not a sexual
but
thing?
It's not. It's not.
You sure?
Not yet. All
right.
We're working on it.
I really think you heard my Studio 54 story.
But there's some big news that you're here to tell our listeners about.
I have a show.
What do you got?
So okay, wait. He's already Speak up.
Oh,
I have a show with the Unknown Detective. It's uncensored with Mike the Cop.
All right.
And the Unknown Detective.
And
This
when
is
does
The
that start?
Detective. So this Saturday, Halloween, from 12 to 1:30, maybe 2. We'll see how the show goes. But it's going to be the last Saturday of the month, a one time a month show.
So it's
last Saturday of the month.
You have a set date and time. It's always the last Saturday.
12 o'clock. Permitting. Like in December, the last Saturday is the 26th. Obviously, we're not doing it the day after
All right.
Christmas. And we can't go into the first Saturday of January. That's the second. So we're deciding when we're going to do it. But it's always going to be right around that last Saturday of the
So
month.
will the Unknown Detective be an actual detective, or will it be like High Pitch Eric with a bag on his head? Because, by the way, we'll know if you're full of shit. We'll know if it's Eric under there. Like, is that Eric?
Come on.
Is that
That's Eric. He lost a lot of weight.
So it's not High Pitch Eric under
No.
there.
But the beauty of the Unknown Detective is if he pisses me off, if he's fucking late, or he doesn't show up for a show, I just put somebody else's seat and put a bag on their head.
I like it. So why the need for the real Mike, the cop?
We promised that we weren't going to go.
Listen.
Now all of a sudden you're Tom Brokaw.
No. Why not just Mike the cop?
If I may.
Listen, I'm just Tom Werther. I'm not the real Tom
The
Werther.
other guy's a part-time
real
fucking
Mike
fake.
the cop.
I'm just regular Tom Werther.
Tom,
Why do you feel the need?
Because I don't have a blue check next to my name. Okay.
Fake thing, Mike
I
the cop.
wake up every day in the mirror and look at this mess of myself, and I know who I am. I don't need
So
the
does
blue
Julie.
check.
So does
Yes,
Julie.
unfortunately, so does my wife. God bless her. I definitely outkicked the punt team with her. I don't know how that even happened. She's probably listening right now. Love you.
Where is Julie?
So, the short answer is this. There's another Mike the Cop, right? So I just figured so there wouldn't be no confusion.
Or fake the cop.
Well, if you're the real Mike the cop, the other Mike the cop would then be
Fake
the fake
the cop.
No,
Mike the
he's,
cop?
no. He's just Mike the Cop.
Well, he's part-time, though. He was never full-time, so...
Shut up, unknown.
Unknown. You're trying to really start something up here, and I'm trying to be civil. So the answer is because he's Mike the Cop, I figured I'll call myself the real Mike the Cop. Even though, Tom, I've been Mike the Cop since 1987. Even though I own MikeTheCop.com. Even though if you go on Instagram and type in @MikeTheCop, it comes to me. Even though on Twitter I'm Mike the Cop 1 because some other dude, not him, got that a very long time ago. Even
So
though-
apparently there are lots of cops, and their
Mike,
first name
your face
is
is
Mike.
turning red.
And also, the first Mike the Cop was from Abbott and Costello. That's where it came from. The second Mike the Cop was scumbag Michael Dowd. Then came me. And then came...
Oh, was Michael Dowd really Mike the cop?
If you Google, he comes up sometimes as Mike the Cop.
Does he really?
Yeah, unfortunately he does. But I loved Abbott and Costello. And very early on in my police career, I used to call into Howard Stern and the Booker Show and other shows. And Booker started calling me Mike the Cop, and it stuck. And you know, in radio, once you start calling in,
You have a term. You have something
you have
that
a moniker,
associates with
right.
you, and
if you're
they know who they're speaking to.
Yeah, if you're
Sure.
entertaining and you make them laugh or whatever, they'll share you. They'll pass you around to other shows. So I've been doing that since 1992, 93.
Can we get Can we get a caller? 219 the Blue Room. Really? How is this? How are we not getting callers?
It's probably going to be like my family or
Son of a.
Mike's
Oh, I'm waiting for
Mike's
someone to
wife
come
or
in.
something.
So, are you going to have guests on your show besides
Yes.
the unknown detective?
Yeah, so the idea is like you guys are doing, you're bringing in like Pat
The
Lynch, you got
unknown
Billy
suffocating? What
you
the
got-
fuck is going on?
You got-
No, I think he just ate. I think he just ate a donut.
You got Pat Lynch, you got Billy coming in. You've had on, high end like law enforcement. My idea is to bring in everyday Joes, like cops that have a story they want to tell if they want to come on the air, or retired cops. And we're gonna do like awards like this. Like this is, you know what this is, right?
Oh, that's the Blue Falcon.
Yeah, hey buddy. So this is the Blue Falcon. So what will happen is, I'm not going to be making any friends with this show. So
No, you
once a month there'll be a Blue Falcon Award, and we're going to find somebody in law
Jesus.
enforcement, which really, unfortunately, in this day and age, is not hard to do.
Nope.
That's a buddy fucker. That's what this is. Hey buddy. Hey buddy. Hey buddy.
Yeah.
Fuck you, buddy. So I don't even know how much I owe right
You,
now.
do you guys serve? Anyone serve in the military? So
Yes,
what's the term for the guy that bangs the wife of the other guy who's
It's a
serving?
Jody.
A Jody.
Jody.
A Jody.
Jody.
So
Jody.
that's our Jody.
No,
But the
Blue
piece of shit
Falcon,
who
I
throws
think
you
Blue
under the
Falcon
bus and
originated
sells you out.
Yeah, but it comes from that, though.
Service though, before it
So-
became the cop, right?
So, really, a Blue Falcon is, you said it the best, a buddy fucker.
Right.
All right. So, Jody and a Blue Falcon are two different things. It's straight up, someone who does their buddy dirty.
Right.
Does some foul.
Yeah, but Jody is very specific to I'm away in Afghanistan serving my
Yes.
country,
Yes.
and my friend is fucking my wife.
Unknown,
I would
unknown
rather
give
white
Billy to
Jody.
Mike.
Jody.
Unknown, give Billy to Mike.
Billy has something.
There you go.
Nah, man. So it's like, speaking of the Jody thing, just kind of to touch on that. It's like, I remember I was in RAF Mildenhall, UK, right? I had a homie. I'm not gonna say his name, but
Did it rhyme with Joe?
so listen, this guy.
I'm never good at that.
This
I
guy
always fuck
goes.
that
This
up.
guy goes out to the Middle East. He goes on a little deployment for a while, right? He leaves his girl. He came from Boston and all this, right? Leaves his girlfriend with us. Like, hey, listen, watch my girlfriend. Make sure she's all good. And I was, legitimate guy, no bullshit, legitimate guy. However, she, on the other hand, started banging a whole bunch of these Jodies and took all the money, because they married, had a joint account. Took all the money that was inside of his account and splurged it on clothes and paying off other guys.
So
and
a
all kinds of-
plural is Jodies, not like a deer. Like
There was
Yeah,
more than
Jody.
one.
Deer, it's
No,
still
so
Jody.
basically,
Either
hang
way,
on.
doesn't have to be a male. It could be a male or
Right,
a female.
but it's
But more
like-
than one Jody is Jodies.
Yeah, so
Like, because if it's a deer, it's still deer if there's more than one.
Yes,
I moved to the
it's
country,
all-
I
it's
said
just-
deers,
it's
and I
still
got yelled
just
at. So Jodies
multiple
means
deer.
fucked up.
Yeah, so like Jody, like the name, like
I want to know these things.
the way Jody was explained to us, like in boot camp and stuff, is like Jody's supposed to be like it's like it's a stereotypical douchebag who bangs your wife, right?
Right.
He's probably like 6'2", fucking 200
So,
pounds.
hold on,
Yeah.
do you have a story? Do you know anyone that was a victim of the Jody?
My guy.
that came home and just like
My
guy
friend-
who's
No,
not doesn't
so-
rhyme
my
with Joe.
friend that I'm telling you
So,
about.
so what did he do?
What did he do?
Did he beat the piss out of the?
No, he didn't do that because he was not going to take on that guy. He wasn't. But what he did was, at the time, there was a website called. Are you up at night.com? I think is what it's called.
Knock
it
it off
doesn't,
douchebag.com?
it doesn't exist
I own
anymore.
that.
It doesn't exist anymore. The website, but it doesn't exist anymore. But the website existed for it was like a revenge porn website. Like apparently he had his house rigged or whatever, had it on camera and stuff like that. Put it on this website.
Oh, my.
Of her just being a thought to this guy. Right. So that's how he got back. He wasn't gonna beat this Jody guy. Jody's supposed to be like some super huge guy you can't beat. And he's just banging your wife while you're out there shooting people.
No,
what I mean?
So, hey,
big
Tom.
fat fuck like me will bang your wife.
Funny.
just as much as you will.
Funny you mentioned douchebag because besides the Blue Falcon, which is for law enforcement, we also have a monthly douchebag award, and that'll go to like a politician or somebody who has done
a
disservice.
monthly disservice.
Yeah, so
Give it to Pasquale.
How are you going to narrow that down?
Well,
How are you going to narrow that
so
down?
Our
Because
Facebook page is very interactive. Like, so I'm using the page to like kind of like propel the show.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I put this Blue Falcon up, I got not a million. I got hundreds of mutants and miscreants and
They-
stuff
trying to-
messaging me saying, "Oh, well, you should want people to turn in a bad cop."
Well,
how did
if-
you get
if
turning
you-
in a
if-
bad
if-
cop into a
Mike,
fucker?
if you wanted 1 million followers, you could just be like the fake Mike the Cop and pay for
All right,
a
you guys
million
are try-
followers.
listen.
and honestly, I'm gonna go away from the Blue Falcon. I want to go more into that.
All right, so-
and in the fake Mike the
All
Cop.
right,
Wait, hang on.
You're
You're
Hang
trying
on.
to draw me into something that I don't want to. Look,
Who's hanging? Who's tell me? Hang on. No, you are the original Mike the Cop.
No, the original Mike the Cop died in 1948. He was on Abbott and
All right,
Costello.
so-
then came scumbag Michael Dowd, who snorted lines off the cars, the police cars.
Allegedly.
So why do you have to use the term the real Mike the Cop? Is someone else using Mike the Cop and saying that you're not Mike the Cop?
No, okay, so the other day, again, on the Uncensored Mike, the real Mike the Cop page, I got a message. Not a message. The guy posted it publicly, and he is from Humanize the Badge. I don't want to disparage the charity because they do good things, but he's a board member of that charity, and he works on that charity with Mike the Cop. He took it upon himself to leave a message publicly for everybody to read, basically dehumanizing me, which is funny because they want to humanize everybody because I don't have, 600.
It's not really hard though.
I know, but
you're a
I don't
savage.
Have,
You're a
but I
savage.
don't have 695,000 followers
Yet
I only have 4,000. So apparently I'm a joke, and I'm not to be taken serious. And I don't have the blue, I don't have that little blue check next to my name.
Yeah.
So I said to him, listen, for a guy like me who only has 4,000 followers, how do I have that headspace? Why am I living rent free in your head? Don't worry about me. You do you, I do me.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe then what I'll have to do is just release, all of the personal messages back and forth between me and Mike the Cop over the last 4 or 5 years. And I know he doesn't want that. He does not want that. But to be fair, this didn't come from him. It came from one of his board members. Now, I don't know if that was facilitated by him or not. I don't think it would be. I don't think he wants to mess with. I think he wants to go do his thing, and I'll do my thing. And I'm not trying to take away anything from the guy. God bless. Do what you want to do, but leave me the fuck alone, or don't. And
Or
then-
bring it.
Yeah.
And this is all on Blue News Network, BNN. Is that the rebranding?
Well, no. So we have our own
Here.
Facebook page, like you guys. We have Uncensored with Mike the Cop. You have the Blue Room podcast.
But your show is going to be on the Blue News
Broadcast,
Network.
yeah, BBN, the Blue Broadcast Network. Eventually, it's all going to be streamed
All right.
out of that
All
one
right.
place. But for now, we'll just stream from our page, like you're doing for yours,
Mhm.
until the Blue Broadcast Network and the YouTube page and the platforms for our, broken down podcast, 30-minute segments that people can download. That's all being worked on as we're building the network up. So
We
again,
have a phone call.
let me just say this one.
No,
more.
wait. We got a phone call. We don't get many phone calls.
All right.
And when someone says there's a phone call from the booth, I got to say stop. Because honestly, I can't imagine
I really
we
feel
don't
like
have
I'm
more
in the
phone
hot-
calls.
I really feel like I got, Pearl Harbored here.
Maybe you did.
No offense to
Let's
any
see.
Japanese.
You may have.
No offense to any Japanese people.
If it's high pitch, maybe.
Oh, who Japanese?
Oh no! Don't do that.
You
to me
don't
again.
want to go there with me.
See, the good thing about having
I
this,
can't even smoke cigar right now because of you.
the good thing about having the bag on is he can say whatever the fuck he wants.
I want a bag on. Phone caller. What do you got?
Fuck on me?
Hello?
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 I don't order nothing.
I'm a detective. I'm a detective. Come to my store. Order food. No pay. No pay. Son of a bitch.
I always pay. I pay you. You don't call me at my work. You don't call me at the work. You.
So we get one caller, and this is what we get.
This is what we get.
Order number 2, number 3, number 4.
You don't do this. I pay you. And where my puppy? Where my puppy? You don't give
You
back.
fucking me, and you fucking my store.
You don't give my puppy back. I know who you is.
Give me my money. Give me my money for my food.
Hey, no more.
You not
Done.
me no more.
Booth, cut it off. Booth,
Hey,
cut it
unknown.
off.
Did you order Mugu Gai pen? What did
I
you order?
ordered nothing. This guy.
He
come
ordered
here
cream
all
of
the
Samyang
time.
guy.
He tried all food. Never pay. It's okay. I know him. I know him from around the way.
Oh.
All right. So just to be clear,
Just to be, let's clarify
nothing-
this.
So your show is going to premiere
but-
and
hey,
end
nothing but peace
on
and love.
October 31st.
Peace and love for
Yeah, a Halloween.
the other people. I don't need. When I get threatened with 900,000 followers, because that's what they did. Like, we'll see how our. I feel like that scene in like what's that, Ron Burgundy? What's that movie?
Anchorman.
I feel like the scene in Anchorman when the Latino channel is taking them on in the parking lot with like the chains and the medieval like things. I feel like that's what they're trying to do, like intimidate me with their followers or whatever.
They
Like,
100% are.
No,
And their followers are
bro,
bullshit.
I'll tell you what, though. I love the fact that you're calling out the douchebags, the Blue Falcons. Like, that's monster. That's monster.
Right.
in our law enforcement community, saying, "Hey, you're an asshole."
Well, Tom, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Listen,
you're not making friends. You're not making money. I get it.
If somebody wants to do the things that Buddy Fuckers do, Blue Falcons do, and have no remorse whatsoever, then they deserve to be rewarded for it.
So the first show is when?
Saturday, Halloween, October 31st.
And it's every last Saturday of the month.
Saturday of every month.
Right. 12 to 1:30.
12.
We're probably going to go to 2 this week because there's a lot of stuff planned.
So based on my experience, you say it's going to go to 2, it's going to go to 4.
Well, no, hour and a half.
You can't stop
hour and a half.
You may as well get it in because it's going to be your fucking first show and your last show.
Hour and a half, and then it might run a little bit long. But we'll have things like the Blue Falcon Award. We have the Douchebag Award.
K9 Corner.
We have the K9 Corner with Ron Torres.
Oh,
We're trying to develop a show right there. We have Mike the Cop's Donut and Dogs review. One bite, everybody knows the law. So I'll do the first one.
When's Dick Whiskey
and
coming
then,
on?
Wait, we're gonna get to Dick Whiskey.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do the first, donut or dog review because all cops we know love donuts, right? It's a stereotype, but it's a true one. And
I definitely do.
right,
Unless you're at a Dunkin', because Dunkin' doesn't do donuts anymore.
And hot dogs because it's quick. It's on a go-to meal. So I'll do the first one, but the idea is after that, other cops, listeners will record their own from their spots all over the country, and we'll air them, and people will know where to go get a good hot dog or a good.
All
donut.
right, so
Tommy,
as well as one more one I'd like to talk about is Trooper,
the host.
Trooper Dick Whiskey.
Has lost control.
Trooper Dick Whiskey. So Trooper Dick Whiskey, he will call in and do beer and booze reviews.
Tommy.
And while he's doing the review, via the telephone, we'll have the actual whatever it is he's reviewing here, and we'll do the review with him because cops love donuts, they love hot dogs, and of course they love booze.
We love whiskey.
Whiskey and beer. 3 chord.
So my question is though, and I didn't pass this by Josh because he would tell me
no.
no.
No, stop.
Oh yeah.
It.
Oh no.
Stop.
When's the next show? Day after election day?
Yeah, right now, as long as we're not apocalyptic, yeah.
All right. So if we can get the other Mike the Cop.
Yes.
To call in.
Yes.
Would you come in and have a conversation
shit.
with the real Mike the Cop?
With the fake Mike the Cop.
The fake Mike the Cop, and have a conversation without it being total savage?
Well, first of all, I don't know.
Are you okay with that?
You want a yes or no?
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay. I'll have conversation with anybody.
All right.
Anytime.
I knew you would say that, and that's why I asked the question.
But that
so
being
the fake
said,
Mike the Cop, if you're paying attention, which I know the fuck you are.
That being said, though, there's really not much. Between him and I, we have a clear understanding of where we stand with each other.
So it's his followers that are all fucked up.
Well, the guy's on his charity. It's I don't know what his position is. He's not cool
but
like the CEO. He's not cool like this guy.
But he will have his people chime in and say, "Hey, let's have this conversation. Listen to this conversation."
If he's got 690,000 followers and they want to come chirp on my page or call into our show or listen to our show, I'll take it.
Next show, Josh. Next show, let's get the other Mike the Cop.
The fake Mike the Cop. The fake Mike the Cop and the real Mike the Cop.
I won't say fake.
I don't think
I
that's
won't
fair.
say fake. I'll say the other Mike the Cop.
You could call him former Mike the Cop.
Our Mike the Cop.
Former is
and
fair.
have a conversation.
Former's fair.
On this show. Can we do that?
We can do that. Yes.
You can make that happen?
I can try to make that happen. As long as the fake Mike the Cop, as I was,
if you keep calling him fake Mike the Cop, he's not going to come on.
That's why I said
like he's got
as long as the former Mike the Cop,
the other Mike the Cop
is willing to come in.
How about part-time?
We can make that happen. Start the plugs. Start with Billy.
The other Mike the Cop, Billy.
Start with Billy.
Plug. Website.
Pass it over. Unknown. Pass that mic over.
All right, so the website for everybody that wants to know, it's Billy2020NJ.com. On Twitter, it's Billy Prempe. On Facebook, Billy Prempe. And on Instagram and Parler, it's some guy named Bill.
I wish I lived in New Jersey and so I could vote for you, but I'm in Pennsylvania.
Billy, you did awesome. Honest to God, you did awesome.
Unknown.
The unknown has absolutely nothing. Go with it.
Do you have any other voices besides Japanese?
Oh yeah, we do. We got www.proudpig.blue. If you're not patrolling with the pig, you're doing it
You
wrong.
kind of gave it away.
I kind of recognize that voice.
I don't know who that guy is.
You can speculate all you want, but he's behind the bag, and it's just no problem there.
Mike Burke, what do you got?
So I want to promote Humanizing the Badge, which is Mike the Cop's charity, right? Mike the Cop and the other dude that messaged me. They really do good things, right? I mean, I'm not really down with the whole like influencer thing. Like, I feel like if you're going to do that and you're going to monetize it, then do that and make your money. and don't comment on police related stuff then, because then I feel it's like a little dirty because you're making money off of
your spiel,
our profession, our chosen profession, whatever. But they do dehumanizing the badge does do good things, so they should stick to doing that and not trying to start Facebook, or I don't even know how to do like a Facebook war. I'm not really. I could barely turn on my. I bought a new iPad. I don't even know how to turn it on.
I saw it.
So I don't even know how to do like a Facebook war. It's 12.9 iPad Pro.
Oh, he showed me. All I showed was porn.
Yeah,
it was like it's all porn.
I bought it to put a $5 like soundboard on it, a $1,300 machine item.
To put a $5 app.
Yeah, so I can go boing or burp or sound effects on the show because I'm like, a child, a man-child. But yeah, so humanizing the badge, they do good things just like Supro does. Elio only, right? Elio only. I'm not really. Yeah. I used to be in that group. I'm not a fan of people.
In fairness, I had the picture. I had the picture of those guys with Craig Poland. Right. I didn't put it up tonight. Out of respect for you being in
here. I wouldn't have said his name on the air, but I was saying.
Well, no, I did. I apologize.
I would say that they do,
great work. They do great work.
They do awesome things.
Absolutely.
Listen, we're all alphas, right?
Yep.
So there are going to be personality conflicts,
and there's lots of fucking money out there.
And I'm sure I'll come in on the 4th and I'll bullshit with the guy. I don't really think there's anything to get out of it. I mean, because I really don't care. I think everybody in this room knows, and people who watch the show are going to find out real soon. I don't give a fuck, right? I'm retired.
You're retired, yeah.
I could say what I want, and I use my platform.
He tried to burn his neighbor's house down.
Right. I don't. So I use my platform to speak for other people that really can't, right? For cops that can't, and for fallen officers that can't.
Yep.
Because we take this shit personal. So
we do.
Humanize the badge, peace and love, and I'll come in on the 4th if you get in the.
Joe won.
www.supro.org. I am too.
Authorita.
It's all right.
He's like, you're number
the
2.
bro. He's
you're number 2. He was the first one I saw, though. So you're Joe.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, number 2.
www.supro.org. Get some items or make some donations, and at Supro Family on Facebook and Instagram.
So, Chad, apparently Josh just told me you're referred to as Black Chad.
Charles Nelson Riley.
You're the only Chad in the group. But you're Black Chad, and we love you. What do you got?
The correct term is Big Black Chad.
Oh, Big Black Chad.
Now, when I hear Black Chad...
Well, you're wearing your pants. I really can't tell if it's big.
Tom, when I hear his real name, I think of Charles Nelson Riley. When you say Black Chad, KRS-One came right into my head.
Black Chad, Black Chad, Black Chad, Black Chad, Black Chad, Black Chad, Black Chad.
I prefer the term Curtis Wright.
Okay.
That's the name I like.
I'm just saying things pop into my head. I got to get them out.
That's
all right.
the
story
we'll just say CW.
CW.
CW. What do you got?
CW works for me.
Nothing?
All I got to say is, sup, bro.
Sup, bro.
Nice.
Joe won. Joe won.
Joe won, yeah. Supro.org. Just want people to know we are the face of active law enforcement, and we're just cops, and just regular people trying to do the right thing.
Awesome.
And just to reiterate, we do not make a dime off of anything. We take nothing.
Zero. Spend our own money. Ask my wife.
Which is the best. I love.
Who says he's a zero?
I love the idea of that too, because the bigger you get, you start to get expenses and stuff like that, and we're running around and we're doing stuff like Josh and all of us. No one takes a penny. Nobody gets paid for any of this. So everything.
Right.
And look, I'm not saying it to try to get accolades. I'm saying it's hard. It's hard enough to do the job.
Right.
And then you have your family, and then you have to have an understanding family to have them, because this takes time. This stuff.
Yeah.
A
lot of time.
Tom, it's fun and we all
Fuck
laugh.
Tom. Fuck Tom. Just don't tell Tom.
No, I'm serious. It's fun. We go bananas in here and whatever, but this guy's prepared. He's 5 pages of notes. He knows about everybody.
At least 5 pages of notes.
And that takes time. That's sitting at a table at night, and it might not seem like a big deal, but it's time away from family.
Right.
And that's all done for love of job, love of brothers and sisters, and that that should be recognized.
When we first started out, absolutely, it should definitely be recognized. When we first started out, as Joe was saying, all the money we raised, we gave out. So when it came to the time to actually start the incorporation and everything like that, we used money out of our own pockets to get it going, and and we did that because we felt strongly about it,
right?
And we wanted to get it going, and it's been very successful so far, and we continue to strive forward to
And it's a tough thing to do. Who handles the money? You do?
All right, very tough thing to do because Josh will tell you that
I will not have anything to do
Well,
with
because-
fucking money.
Because
Please
my
leave
issue-
me the fuck
my
out of
issue, and
that.
I'll just give you a little advice on air and off air. Is you
No.
gotta learn to say no. I still not have learned to do that. So anybody that comes to me for anything, I say yes, and then my next phone call is to Josh, and I'm like, how do we do this? Like, how do
Right.
we need like
Josh doesn't want to know
when-
anything about
when
money.
Detective Seals was killed right, in
Josh
Jersey City, and they took care of
doesn't
his family, and everybody was being
want to
taken care
know
of.
anything about money.
He also had a daughter from a previous marriage that was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
And, she was going to college and was taking the train. We heard the story. So I was like, Josh, I basically committed, we're getting her a car. And now we got to figure out how to do it. Like, how do you get a car? And, we're blessed with a lot of great sponsors. Fetty Ford stepped up and we were able to get her essentially just a brand new car, surprise her with it. She had no idea. Those are the things that we're out there trying to do. And I know that's the things that you want to get towards, and we're going to help you do that.
Joe did the floors on my house. He redid the floors when I moved into my house. That's how I met him.
Right.
And out of the 950 Jersey City cops,
right,
I know 10, and unfortunately,
super funny guy.
Yeah,
like if you go on BBO now and search his name, and look at the post that he made. I mean, he came up with the term "you, we, me," which I think it's very simple. Again, like Supper Over Brothers Before Others, you, me, we. But if you take those
So
two
you're
words,
cutting
and you
into
think
my
about
plug.
It, it's very.
You're cutting into my plug. Go ahead.
I had no idea.
So,
I-
do your plug.
Well, I got a couple of plugs.
Well,
MikeTheCop.com. Just that's
Oh
an active website.
Jesus, Billy. Billy.
I end it.
Thank you.
Give your plugs.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. Stay at it. I don't give a fuck what happens next week. Stay at.
Listen, at the end of the day, I just want to make a message clear here to a lot of people. It's like, first off, thank you for the. Don't worry about that. Thank you for the endorsement. Thank you for the support. But at the end of the day, man, no matter which direction that this race goes into, I'm not done yet. I don't plan on stopping. I don't plan on quitting.
Thank you.
Because at the end of the day, we got somebody who's been here 23 years and has done nothing for the people, done nothing for our community. And I want to do the right thing. I've spoken with enough police officers to understand that it's like, listen, we can look at this really one-sided and say, hey, listen, police are douchebags, but that's not true. I know lots of you guys. I've spoken with lots of you guys. I know what's going on.
Tom's a douchebag, but
well, I don't know about that. Hey, that's it. But it's
a little bit.
At the end of a little bit, right? So I don't know the guy, but according to you guys, he's a douchebag. But at the end of the day, man, look. All jokes aside, though, man, it's like, listen, we will absolutely lose this country without law and order. And that's something that. Growing up, I was always this kind of guy that was like, F the police, screw these guys, douchebags, whatever, But as I got older and I started to see how things were happening, I started to see my friends dying, I started to see people dying in my community, I started to realize that, listen, at the end of the day, it really takes a very special kind of somebody, right? Similar to military, it takes a very special kind of somebody to run into harm's way, put their lives on the line, and willing to get shot for somebody that they don't even know who probably doesn't even like them at the end of the day, And it's like when we turn our backs on people like that, these are the types of people we need in society. These are the types of people we need to be role models, the types of people that we need to actually protect our community. Because after them, who do we have left? The military. But you don't want military police in the streets. Nope. So we got to protect our police. We got to protect the people that are taking care of our community. And I want to do everything that I can to support you guys. And that's not just in this congressional race. That's moving forward for the rest of my life, because I've seen it. All right? I know people who've seen lives where there's no police or the police are absolutely corrupt. I see you guys trying to do the right thing. I know there's reform that needs to be made, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure that our communities are taken care of, you guys are taken care of, everybody's safe at the end of the day, all right? Because the leadership we have right now, he's not going in that direction.
At all.
He's going with what's popular.
Yep.
He's going with what's cool, and what's cool is defund the police, BLM, let's
Defund
support
Ds.
communism. Let's support the communist ideology and all this BS. And I just want to leave you guys with something. I want you guys to take a look at this book, all right? Tell everybody to go and read this book. It's probably the most fascinating book that I've read in my entire time paying attention to politics. It's a book called Color, Communism, and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. Have you guys ever read it before?
No.
So Manning Johnson was an African-American who grew up in the 1950s, right? In the 1950s, he was a part of the communist the Black Communist Organization, right? He was a supporter, gung-ho, all that stuff, until eventually he began to realize that it's like they were using the African Americans in the same way that they were utilizing what Lenin called the useful idiots in Eastern Europe and in Russia. The ones who didn't know what was going on with the ideology, who didn't understand it, but they were pushing for communism. And once the communism actually came to place when they needed it, they eliminated all those people. That's what I believe Black Lives Matter is doing today. They themselves came out and admitted that they're trained Marxists. They came out and said that they're against the nuclear family. They support the single-parent households. They don't say anything about protecting the black man or protecting the father in the household. They want the country to fall apart. That's all a part of the Communist Manifesto. Destroy the family. This is what they
and
want.
they get paid for their appearances. Isn't that funny? They're against capitalism, but they get paid to come out.
Well,
and speak.
it's funny. Capitalism pays really well when you're teaching a very uninformed populace, and that's what's going on right now. What really saddens me, what really got me involved in politics. So let's be honest here. I don't look anything like a politician. 6'2", from the fourth ward with dreadlocks, regular guy from the hood. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a politician suit and tie kind of guy. I've seen this stuff. I've lived this kind of stuff. Pascal talks about this stuff, but he's not about this kind of stuff. If we want real change, we really want to support our police, we want to really support our community, we need to make sure that our police are well equipped. We need to make sure they got the appropriate training to get the job done properly. And if you are a douchebag, the police have to have the ability to get rid of you so that we can only hire and promote the best of the police officers. Because if we keep a system like the way we've got right now, the people are going to get rid of you guys. If we keep the system the way we do right now and they don't get rid of you, we're only going to have a very terrible police department. We need the best of the best. The same way we have the best of the best in our military, we need the best of the best in our police departments.
All right. Listen, guys, we're wrapping the show up.
That book title what the book title again?
The book was called Color, Communism, and Common Sense by Manning Johnson.
Do you have plugs, Josh?
Oh, the last one that you tried to chime in on. You, me, we. Like you started the show out with, Charlie Roberts. I want to thank his family, Alice, Shay, Natalie, and Gavin. Not just for today, for giving us the opportunity of stopping by and honoring him. I know tomorrow is his birthday, so today had to be exceptionally tough on them.
But you would never know it being there because they were gracious and very accommodating, which is
you would never know it. But for sharing him with us, it's like Billy was saying. It takes a special kind of person to do this job. Rob was that guy. He was a special kind of person. I want to thank Megan from Blue Line Bears for honoring him the way she did. She had made 3 bears out of his uniform shirts like she's been doing since 14 years old when this girl started this charity intrinsically on her own.
And now she's doing it while she's in college, so she's continuing. And I think they just bought an office and they hired like a CFO help them. They're going to
unbelievable for this millennial generation. She's a standout. And again, members of the Glenridge PD, obviously, for joining us today, honoring Rob. It was a really good day. And like I said, when you see stuff like that today, anybody that thinks this thing we do is just a job, you'll fuck yourself. This thing is so much more than just that. We have a curse jar. Even though I'm not in there, I apologize.
That goodbye took a real turn.
I apologize. Uncensored with Mike the Cop.
Real quick
Billy
question.
Prempy. God bless you.
Real
Seriously.
quick question. Who is it that owns Line of Duty cigars? Because these are really good cigars.
That's Tom right there.
There it is.
Good cigars.
Yeah.
Good cigars, man. I like that. You rolled these?
Yep.
Hey, Tom, thanks for that. I just got a check for BBO for $600. I'd like to say thank you. So how Tom's charity, well, what it works is a business, but when you first sign on to his website, there's like 6 or 7 or 8 charities.
There's 10 charities, and you choose the charity that we donate to. So based on your whatever you buy, we donate 10% of the profits to that charity.
Make it 11. Nice. We're here. We're ready. Thank you.
And then he also has programs where you can send cigars overseas. So like you donate $100, and then
we definitely donate more than we actually earn. But that's
the whole point.
That's what charitable work is. Yeah. So that's www.lineofdutycigars.com. You're having a cigar out. You're having a golf outing, a cigar night, a steak night. You have guys serving overseas that you want to send cigars to. Let us know. I want to thank from Sup Bro, Joe DiParisi, Sup Chad Wilson, and Joe Piano, and I got the name right twice now, so I get a gig out of that.
Gold star.
Billy Prempe, 9th District. Guys, vote. Get out there and vote. Captain Alan Davis, right? Is Captain Davis still here? Captain Alan Davis, Officers Kevin Smith and Donnie Jackson come in, and the real Mike the Cop for coming in.
Yeah! I just invented that. I just invented that right
Lil Jon
for coming on the show tonight. Stick with
Lil
us.
Jon, man.
Next week, day after.
I'm Little Mike.
Election day is the third or the fourth? Third,
yeah.
And we're doing a show on the 4th. We're doing our own little thing on the 2nd. No, third, the night of.
Yeah, third. We're having a watch party.
Watch party, and we'll
An
be back.
undisclosed location.
We'll
we
be
don't
back
need
here on the
anybody
4th.
showing
Guys,
up
thanks for chiming in. God bless all of you. Thank all of our guests. We had like 50 tonight for hanging with us and being patient. So
blew right through the 2-hour show, 3-hour mark.
Yes,
right now.
3-hour mark.
This is a special edition episode.
We'll be back next week. Jacob, take it out.
If you are searching for a doctor that truly cares about your overall health and well-being, contact Dr. Alex at Tri-State Health and Wellness. For more than 11 years, Dr. Alex has been treating law enforcement professionals and their families while focusing on one-on-one care so you never feel rushed. All necessary testing can be conducted during your visit, and they feature flexible hours and appointments to accommodate alternating work schedules. Tri-State Health and Wellness is conveniently located in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Contact Dr. Alex today by visiting www.bluetristate.com. Mortgages for everyday heroes. From Michelle Hendershot and Homebridge Financial Services. If you're looking to purchase a home or refinance an existing mortgage, Michelle Hendershot can assist you every step of the way. With over 10 years of experience assisting law enforcement officers with their dream of owning a home, the choice is simple. Contact Michelle Hendershot today. Visit www.mortgagesforblue.com. Are you tired of sleeping alone each night? Feeling sluggish during the day? Is your snoring keeping your spouse awake at night? If you find yourself spending too much time on the couch, maybe it's time to visit Dr. Michael Doblin of At Home Sleep Solutions. Dr. Doblin is the preferred sleep apnea doctor of New Jersey's law enforcement officers. With the help of a custom-fitted oral device, you can finally say goodbye to noisy, antiquated sleep apnea machines. For more information and to schedule an appointment today, contact Dr. Michael Doblin. Visit www.bluesnore.com. Moment of Silence, Inc., along with Blue Suicide, is a nonprofit organization founded to support and raise awareness about the epidemic of suicides amongst law enforcement, military personnel, and first responders. For more information on how you can help, visit momentofsilenceinc.org. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a certified used vehicle, then visit Fetty Auto Group, located at the junction of Route 46 and Route 3 in Clifton, New Jersey. Fetty Auto Group stands shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in blue. Stop by and ask for Troy Mall and ask about the offers for first responders. For more information, visit FettyAuto.com. That's FettyAuto.com. The Blue Magazine, the law enforcement publication by law enforcement professionals for the men and women of law enforcement. The unfiltered voice of law enforcement. TheBlueMagazine.com. Are you patrolling with the pig? If not, you're doing it wrong. Check out all the newest swine swag at ProudPig.blue. They are dirty by design. Check it out now. Visit www.proudpig.blue for all your swine swag. Visit www.proudpig.blue. Resumes by Joe. Owned and operated by retired NYPD second grade detective Joe Federa. With over 20 years of professional resume writing experience and focusing on translating what we do as cops into language that the corporate world can appreciate. We put an emphasis on ensuring that your cover letter and resume will be best received by the applicant tracking system used by most companies today. Check out our website at www.resumesbyjoe.com or call Joe directly at 347-992-4523. Don't forget to ask about the 50% discount for BBO members and most unions across the country. Give us the job of helping you get the job. Contact Resumes by Joe today.
If you're a member of the law enforcement profession and are looking to establish long-lasting business relationships with businesses that are blue friendly, it's time to visit visitblue.com. Visitblue.com features some of the best doctors, lawyers, realtors, as well as other service providers such as home improvement and financial services. If you are looking for reliable, trustworthy service providers, visit visitblue.com. That's www.visitblue.com.
Founded in 2014 by retired NYPD police officer Michael Burke, Brothers Before Others is a national 501c3 law enforcement charity comprised solely of both sworn and retired police officers. Since their inception, Brothers Before Others has sent floral arrangements to the services of all line-of-duty deaths regardless of where in the country they occur, having spent over $350,000 to date. While the National Flower Fund remains their cornerstone, their benevolence has since grown well beyond that, even into the civilian world. For more information on how to get involved or to donate, visit brothersbeforeothers.org, or you can visit their public forums on all social media platforms by searching Brothers Before Others. Founded in 2016 by professional musician Neil Giraldo, 3-Chord Bourbon has developed a process that is defined as the perfectly tuned taste, blending carefully selected whiskey bourbon and rye whiskey stocks from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. Designed to be enjoyed with friends and family, 3-Chord Bourbon will leave you with the same feeling you experience after hearing that perfect song. You'll know their whiskeys are right from the very first sip. For more information on 3-Chord Bourbon and available merchandise, visit 3chordbourbon.com. Line of Duty Cigars, owned and operated by retired NYPD Detective Tom Werther. Visit lineofdutycigars.com for our handmade Nicaraguan cigars, custom ashtrays, custom humidors, and custom flask sets. Also, when you place an order, you choose the law enforcement, first responder, or veteran charity, and Line of Duty Cigars donates 10% to that organization. Planning a special event? Contact us today. Visit www.lineofdutycigars.com.